Hello, friends. Welcome to Pod Maverick. My name is Kirk Henderson, and I'm joined, as always, by my fellow site runner and editor over at MavsMoneyball.com, Josh Bowe. Josh, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Vindication. I think that's the theme of tonight's show.
Like, really alarmingly accurate prediction from you. I'm kind of shocked. For those of you who may not know, the Dallas Mavericks are heading to the NBA Finals after defeating the Minnesota Timberwolves 124-103 in a game that was a laugher after about 15 minutes because Luka Doncic is the best basketball player on the planet, and he let those fine folks in Minnesota know early and often, and the Wolves never had a chance. Josh, what'd you think, man?
It was very, this is an original thought, but it was very much Suns Game 7 from 2022. Just Luka demoralizing a rowdy home playoff crowd in an elimination game and basically ending the game in one half. I mean, it was a 29-point lead for the Mavericks after one half, and really, I mean, it was over. Like, I know leads can shrink quickly in the modern NBA, but the Wolves are not a team equipped to make large comebacks like this. I know they did a couple times in the playoffs, but
sure,
if you're a betting man, you just wouldn't bet on this offense being able to overcome a 29-point deficit. And yeah, that's just, it was just add another one to Luka's ridiculous resume of just these crazy his playoff resume is ridiculous for someone at age 25. It's just like the games that he's put up, the moments, the plays, the shots. It's just never really seen anything like it for someone that hasn't even turned 26 years old yet, I don't think. Maybe LeBron, even Michael Jordan, he didn't win a title till he was 27. Like, it took a while for some of these guys to break through unless you're like LeBron or Giannis. But it's crazy to watch.
Guys, I got to tell you, it's any Luka Doncic hate at this point boils down to not liking him, not liking his game, not liking his antics, not liking some of the things that he does on the court. But you simply cannot deny him as a player. You can't do it. He's so good when he really locks in and gets it going that he feels utterly inevitable. He had a 20-point first quarter. He came back. He came into the game. He gets the first bucket that he scores was Rudy Gobert. It was goaltending, which maybe wasn't goaltending. And then Luka proceeded to hit two left where they both stepped. One of them might have been a step back. A pair of catching like just deep threes over Anthony Edwards, where within he scored 10 points in the first 3 minutes of the game. And it was very clear that, at least as far as Luka's scoring was going to go, the Wolves were in for a long night. There was not a single thing they could do about him. And as the quarter dragged along, it got worse. He hit a logo three that was disgusting and followed that up where the Wolves are basically trying to trap him at half court by spinning out of the trap and getting right to the edge of the top of the key and drilling another three-pointer where Kyle Anderson, who was probably the best Wolves defensive player on Luka in the series, sort of throws his hands up in disgust, like, what the hell am I supposed to do about this? And that's the answer. I'm saying that's the point. What the hell are you supposed to do is nothing. You cannot defeat Luka when he gets going like that offensively.
I mean, I mean, this is going to be a common occurrence. I'm going to say how many years have we been doing this podcast and talking about this, because I feel like a lot of that stuff is just came true, and a lot of narratives and storylines and analysis just all kind of coalesced. How many times have we said when he makes threes, he's unguardable, he's unbeatable, and when he makes threes, the Mavericks don't lose. Like, they really don't. Like, if he makes 5 or more threes in a game, you're not winning. Like, it's very difficult to beat the Mavericks when he's making that many threes in a game. He made 6. He was 6 of 10, because for the first, what would you say, 3-4 years of his NBA career, making threes was actually probably the sorest spot of his game, just efficiency wise. Now he made a lot, but his percentages were pretty mediocre to bad his first couple years. I mean, he was 32%, 31% his first 2 seasons, then 35, 35, 34. Like, yeah, he made a lot because he takes a lot, but it wasn't like at a percentage that necessarily scared you. Now this season he's at 38, and I don't think it's a surprise that he led the league in scoring when he made 38% of his threes and had one of his best scoring seasons of his career. Well, he had the best scoring season of his career. And it's not surprising that the Mavericks are in the finals, and he shot 43.4% from 3 in these 5 games. Like Luka missing threes is like, you just hope that happens, because try to do whatever you try to do for everything else, he usually has an answer. But if he's making threes, you're up S Creek without a paddle, so to speak. It's just you're fighting a losing battle if he's making threes, and he made threes this series.
I mean, he shot, like, dang, dude. After shooting 7 of 21 in the last game, Luka shot 14 of 22 in this, including 6 of 10 from 3. Yeah. And he was simply unguardable early, which effectively broke what the Timberwolves hoped to do. And even if, let's just say in an alternate reality, the Wolves had closed it to like 10 or 12 points, I still don't think it would have mattered, because the Mavericks were they were playing so free at that point in the game. Sorry if you hear anything in the background. I still got the TNT coverage on, because I want to just keep an eye on it out of the corner of my eye. Apparently Jaden Hardy is going live on IG, which, shout out to Jaden Hardy. And the Mavericks just answered over and over again. And I knew it was going to be gross, like really, truly gross, because first quarter leads happen when Kyrie Irving, who had a little bit of a rough first quarter, knifes into the lane to score the last basket of the quarter for the Mavericks to put them up 36-19. Because you give that guy that clean of a look, you see the ball go through the net, things are going to start to happen for him. And in the second quarter, with Luka on the bench, the Mavericks continued to build the lead. That is not something we've seen a ton of in Luka's time in the playoffs, where Luka time on the bench is almost always bad. And in this case, Kyrie and the Maverick bench really stuck it to the Wolves. It was sort of shocking, where you would expect the Wolves to land some sort of counterpunch, but this goes back to what you said during, and I listened to the last 20 minutes of our pre-series podcast, where you said a team with mediocre offense cannot beat these Mavericks. They just can't do it. And the Wolves buckets tonight, I mean, I just want to take a minute to give credit to Anthony Edwards and to Karl Anthony Towns. You know, Towns was 9 of 20 for 28 points, 12 boards. Edwards was 10 of 18 from the floor with 9 boards and 6 assists, also scored 28 points. But man, their baskets in the first half in particular were labored. The Wolves only scored 4 points in the final 6 minutes of the first quarter. That's when the game died, right then. Because the Wolves, like, there were other stretches where the Wolves couldn't score, but I mean, they really couldn't score. It's
they went from the 5-minute mark of the first quarter to the 10:52 mark of the second quarter without a made field goal. Couple of free throws, but no made field goals for, what is that? Mm-hmm. That's 5. That's about maybe 6 minutes of NBA time with no field goals. That's a long time to not get a bucket. Even if you made, I think they made like 3 free throws in that time, or I guess it'd be like 4. You said they had 4 points. So yeah, that was like, And that's just Mavericks defense. That's kind of been their calling card this playoffs, where it's like for a 3 to 6 minute stretch, it's like, all right, you're just not making any more shots. You're just not going to do it. And that was tough for the Wolves coming in, because the Mavericks did that to the Clippers and they did that to the Thunder, who both had top 10 offenses entering these playoffs, and the Wolves had the 16th. Now, obviously, they were better in the first 2 rounds, but can't hide the leopard spots there. Like it just kind of came to roost eventually.
Well, just a quick note. I saw someone, a Twitter follower in the chat, Skyfall, also at Polarfall on Twitter. He is a South Korean NBA fan who puts out some of the best sort of, for English as a second language, let's just say the man's analysis of NBA and explaining play breakdown and mechanics and why specific things are working down to a really granular level. Go check out his feed at Polar Fall. He says hi in the chat, and I love seeing people from all over the planet pop in here. It really just reminds me of how cool basketball is as a community. So yeah, it's interesting because this game's over in the first half, and I am writing the recap, and I ended up writing about, I ended up not doing any analysis, quite candidly, because when the analysis is you have the best player in the world, there's only so much you can get out of it. This game was a good reminder of how important the two-headed center combination is to what the Mavericks want to do.
Don't think it's a surprise that the Mavericks only lost this season in this series was without Derek Lively.
Now, the plus-minus in this game was hilariously reversed, where Lively's was meh and Daniel Gafford's was incredible.
But the Mavericks also took their foot off the gas for a lot of the second half, which is where some of that. I wonder what Lively's, if the box score can update fast enough, I would love to see what Lively's. Oh, it does. Let's see what Lively's plus minus was in the first half. He was a +9 in the first half.
Sure.
So there you go.
Well, and we're glad that Lively got out of that series healthy. He took a inadvertent but still painful looking shot from Naz Reid. Lively's just really good, man. I was really pleased to see him out there. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. I desperately wanted him to shoot a 3 in that game.
Just for fun.
Just to see if he has it. I want to see a shot. We never see him shoot. And everybody talks about how he can shoot. I
want to say about Lively, I shared this in our Slack. I don't know if you saw it, but watching him in the first half, I can't remember what the exact play was, but it was an Ant. I don't know who was if it was Gobert or Reed or Towns, but it was an Ant pick and roll with Anthony Edwards as ball handler. And Lively played up and basically switched. And Ant tried to, like a lot of lead ball handlers, when the big plays that aggressive, is they tried to string the big out to the perimeter and try to like get around the help. Because once you beat if the big's playing that far up and you beat him at the perimeter, well, guess what? There's no big at the rim, right? Because that's your rim protector. So if you can get around him and take advantage of him playing that far out, you can maybe get a good clean look at the paint. Like Luka does that all the time. Like that's one of his bread and butter things when teams play him aggressive in the pick and roll. And Ant tried. He strung him all the way out to the side because it was a middle of the floor pick and roll to the right side. And he strung him all the way out, tried to go around the 3-point line, just kept going, try to get around him, and he never did. And Lively totally shut off his water, and he had to pass out and reset the possession. And I was thinking,
that doesn't happen, by the way, guys. That just doesn't fucking happen. That's Draymond Green shit.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I was like, the same way when I watched Luka when Luka was 20, and I saw the things that he did on offense, and I was flabbergasted at the things that he was able to do as a 20-year-old on offense. I'm thinking the same thoughts when I watch Derek Lively on defense. Like, I'm thinking, how is a 20-year-old doing this stuff on the defensive end of the floor? And that, I think me and you were skeptical. I think we both enjoyed the Mavericks strategy on draft night. We maybe weren't entirely sold on the player from what we've talked to smarter, people that were smarter than us. But we both were like, this is totally like the right archetype. They're doing the right thing by taking a player, because I think we were concerned that they were going to try to trade that pick for a veteran.
Yeah.
But I think we were just pleased with they took someone because they just needed to take someone. And then from there, we just kind of were like, okay, let's see. Like we were very cautious because we've both watched enough NBA to know that rookie big men don't normally contribute on playoff teams. Like that's not a knock against
Lively. They don't normally contribute to teams.
Yeah, unless you're like in that Embiid tier of like a superstar, kind of big. And even Embiid, was hurt for his first few seasons. So
I may need to go re-listen.
It's crazy.
I may need to go re-listen to the podcast I did with Rafael Barlow. If you guys don't follow him on Twitter around draft season.
He was on it from day one.
At Barlow is spelled BARLOE 500. Rafael Barlow. We did a podcast together, and he told me about Lively, and he's just like he wasn't trying to oversell him. He was just like, look, man, this guy's good. He's good at basketball. He improved rapidly. And I want to say my friend Robbie Callan told me that by the end of the NCAA season, he was the best defender in the NCAA, which sounds ridiculous.
He was putting up like 8 blocks in their conference.
And then you watch this game and you're like, oh, but he did it at the NBA level, which is something else. Like I don't even know how to properly contextualize it.
And did it against this team, by the way, which we saw, which I thought was really poetic that you brought up when you watched this Mavericks team in the preseason against this Wolves team. And they kind of was like, welcome to the NBA moment for Lively going against Towns and Gobert. And now look, and like, less than 12 months later, look at where he is now. It's just doing it against this team. Like he was ridiculous. And I just can't, we can talk more about him maybe later. I can't emphasize how great he was. And he's 20. Like it's just nuts.
Well, all right. We're at about the halfway point because we're going to talk a lot the next week. The final start June 6th. I have to drive to Texas A&M at 5:30 that morning. So I really look forward to how loopy I'm going to be by the time game 1 of the NBA finals is over. God, what a great way to just feels good to say. We should all, you know what? I'm going to bring it up after the break. Guys, while you're here, welcome to Pod Maverick After Dark. We're really grateful that you're here. We record after every game as quickly as possible. We go live here on YouTube and then post that to our audio podcast streams. Those of you who are in here, if you could do me a favor and like the stream, also consider subscribing. Those who are watching the video later, finding it on YouTube, do me a favor and leave a comment. I love reading the comments. I need to be better about responding to them, but I have a lot of stuff I try to balance during the day between my real job and all this and Mavs stuff, so I sometimes don't get to it. Everybody listening on the audio stream, please consider leaving a review. Subscribe if you haven't as well, if you're finding our show by some interesting means. We also record particularly during the playoffs, and I will get better next season when I don't have a newborn, about doing a secondary live show, Mavs party or group therapy, where you can join this just as easily as you join Zooms for work or if you've used your phone. It's real fun. We get new people in here all the time. We talk basketball. Josh and I, me in particular, Josh is actually a trained journalist. I started doing this because I wanted to have people to talk basketball with, and I like talking basketball. It is a simple sport that is so complex and really fun to discuss, and I love actually talking about it on YouTube and with people rather than arguing about it over Twitter or Reddit or anything else. So please consider hanging out after this show. Now, Josh and I are going to insert our audio ads. That's how we actually make a little bit of money off of this. So if you could hang out, we will be right back. Okay, so quick shout out to some folks who are leaving us some super stickers and tips. 7 Harry Lime, appreciate that tip very much. Wade Lamb says, let's go. Feels weird to be going to the finals and not facing Miami. Carry us to the promised land, Kirk and Josh. Marco says, Kuzma didn't want to join this team because we were not true contenders. Guess who's laughing now? Great comment. Our man Cowboy, regular listener and also regular tipper, says, Mavs did a good job at making Edwards dribble too much. The Wolves played street ball because Edwards dribbled so much and couldn't run sets. I would need to see it again, but The Wolves, I think the Wolves may need a point guard. If they're not going to let Ant run offense, then they're going to need a point guard who is not Mike Conley. Mike Conley is obviously amazing, but Mike Conley was battling an injury this whole series, and that's just a tough thing to ask. Our man Glenn says, yeah, it sucks for Minneapolis that they had to play the Mavs at full strength with Lively and Kleenex. Unfair. Our man Henry says, sorry, I'm late. Supreme, Kyrie, Luka the Don, Mavs and 6. Also has my friend Jeremy donated yet. I'm trying to see something. Fan 123, where are you at? Look, I love our crazy commenters. You guys are nuts. Speaking of crazy commenters, shout out to Cameron for a massive tip. Thanks, guys. Listen to you throughout the years. Go Mavs. 13 years has flown by. Wow. What a tip, Cameron. That really helps make my night. Really appreciate your guys' support. What were we talking about before the break? Because there was a number of things that I wanted to.
We were talking about Lively, but we were also you were talking about how your recap was less analysis because it's kind of such a big moment. I wanted to talk because I know we're probably going to spend most of the second half of this podcast talking about like bigger picture narrative things. There was one more analysis thing I wanted to hit on about this game specifically and why it was over so fast. In the first half, Luka was 3 of 4 in the paint outside of the restricted area, like in that floater range. And what did we talk about ad nauseum after game 4 was Luka needs to stop passing up those shots and start converting in the paint because that's what the Wolves were going to give him because they were content playing 2-on-2 and shutting off the role players. And in the first half, he destroyed that coverage. And then that's where, that's where everything flows downhill. Because then it's like, now the Wolves are like, oh, shit, we can't keep letting him score in the paint. We got to bring help. And then you bring help, and then it's over, So, and that's when role players start making shots. That's when they start feeling comfortable. And then now you got the boulder screaming down the hill at an alarming speed. And I think that's how the game got away so quickly for Minnesota and why the Mavs started off so hot.
Yeah. Sorry, I got a weird notification from our guy Brent. I don't understand. Oh, never mind. I see what he did. My biggest problem when writing, I don't know about you. I recommend Grammarly to everyone who uses who writes. But one thing Grammarly can't catch is when you use the wrong word, which he pointed out to me. So shout out to my guy Brent if he's listening. He probably does later. Brent's a good guy. Filibuster for me while I go fix something hilariously bad in the recap.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I was just saying. Luka in the paint, and he finished 5 of 7 in the paint outside the restricted area. He actually had 0 restricted area shots, which is kind of funny. But again, that's what the Wolves were doing in the pick and roll. Is they're just like, and it's the way to guard the Mavericks. It's the best way in my mind because they're a really hard team to guard right now. Just let Luka work in the pick and roll. Don't bring help. Don't double. Don't blitz. Let him make floaters. Let him make mid-range shots because that's better than letting these role players get wide open shots that otherwise they're not going to create for themselves. Like, would you rather have Derek Jones Jr. shooting a wide open spot up corner 3, or have him covered and you try to just guard Luka taking longer, inefficient quote unquote 2s. But when Luka's is good, that's what makes them unguardable because then you got to switch up your defense. And PJ hit shots, Derek Jones Jr. hit shots. I mean, everyone hit shots. They were 15 to 34 from 3. PJ hit 2 threes. Derek Jones hit a 3. The bench hit a couple of 3s. And Lively and Gafford were combined 6 of 6 from the floor. So, that was kind of.
So I know one of the things I wanted to just note. So obviously the Dallas Mavericks play the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. Josh and I are not prepared to do any analysis on this. Like I don't really want to talk about them yet. I want to, maybe
talk about this moment.
I want to talk about this moment. That's right. And so I'm sure in the post show, lots of people have questions. If you guys want to talk about it in the second show, we can talk about it. But Josh and I are not really going to talk about this. One of the things my friend Seth Partnow mentioned to me. He's the writer of I think it's the Mid-Range Game, one of the best books on NBA statistical stuff that you're ever going to find. Pointed out that he's like, I'm retroactively mad at the Mavericks for making Dwight Powell like the constant role man for the Mavericks. And I think about that a lot in terms of the big guys. One of the things I really enjoyed in this game was Kyrie's attack early and often once he got it going. Like, obviously, he let Luka go in the first quarter, but the second quarter and on, he really was great off of pick and roll and passes. He made one on a drive that was Luka-esque, where he kicked it out to Maxi Kleber on the wing for a huge three. At least it felt huge to me, mainly because Maxi shot didn't look good in game one. Maxi, I think, is going to be pretty important in the next series. And so watching him be functional as a multiple, like, he didn't play five. He played, I guess you would say he played power forward, but I don't think he was ever out there by himself. Was he?
Tonight, I think he was always with Gafford or Lively, which is something they caught on in the Clippers series.
I mean, they're
toward
huge.
The end of it.
They're huge when those guys play. So it's, if you're thinking ahead, I know I just said we were not going to do this, but like the ability to have 7-footer, 6'10" guy and another 7-footer along with PJ, who has a massive wingspan, Luka, who is a large human, like the Mavericks just cover ground on defense. And that a lot. And so then those guys are also, semi-functional on offense, depending on who's doing what. There was a really good thread today from Dane Moore. I can't remember who he writes for, maybe The Athletic, who he isolated this series of basically pick and pops with Luka and Maxi, and called out the fact that it's basically some of these things are useless that the Mavericks are doing because the Wolves don't think Maxi's a threat. And like, that was a great insight. Maxi has to be a threat. And I hope with another 9 days of rest, he'll get that shoulder warm. And look, he doesn't need to shoot 60% from the series. He needs to shoot is what he needs to do. You cannot catch the ball on a pick and pop, an auto pump fake, and then pass the ball back to Luka. That's gonna be scouted. So I'm thinking about that.
Yeah, he did have 3 shots in 9 minutes, which is
sure
the right direction for
9 minutes. God, I feel like he was out there more. But that plus 8 in those 9 minutes. That's huge.
I mean, the Maxi plus center lineups were deadly in that first round against the Clippers.
Another guy who was absolutely deadly in this series, series 2, but Josh Green. Josh Green played a great game today. His statistical contributions, 2 steals. There was a play, Kevin Harlan was like trying to keep up with it, that Josh Green was involved in, where like every single Maverick and Wolf touched the ball, where it was like getting slapped around like a pinball. And Luka and Josh Green played a huge part in that. And, I get on Josh Green fairly regularly. Another gentleman who listens to the show regularly, also happened to be named Josh, gets on me about how much I criticize Green. But tonight, I watched him navigate a couple of screens really well, like going under, not dying on the vine. He's just got it. Did he score any points? He was 1 of 3, 2-point shot. He missed his 2 3-pointers. That's, those things come and go. But I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed his effort. I enjoyed his sort of spatial awareness, his awareness for the moment. And I'm really shocked. Like, Josh Green, NBA Finals team contributor, really quite amazing considering the Josh Green that we were discussing in like 2020.
Yeah, that is quite the journey. We didn't even know where he would be as a basket. Like, would he still be playing?
No, I mean, I'm sure there's hours of tape me proclaiming like that he, get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. Like that sort of thing.
Well, look, it didn't look like, he's like my kid. He was a pandemic baby in a way. Like, like everything gets lost to time. Like when he got drafted, he came out of college at like the worst possible time. So
then
good for him.
Who else we got? We got the Jaden Hardy experience continues. Like,
that's working. Keeps working.
Look, like if you're a Jaden Hardy guy and you want to scream at me, go right ahead, because the Jaden Hardy experience against the Timberwolves was absolutely fucking hilarious. There was they were not prepared for him ever, which is a riot because he is so peculiar. Like, I made a tweet. He does you can tell Kyrie's helped him. Like there's a lot of control things that he's gotten better at as the year goes on. I think if 3 of 5 from the floor. Did he have any other? No other statistical contribution. Shout out. That's a real. That's what I'm talking about, including a big 3-pointer. I liked his driving more this series, but one thing I hope he'll see during tape is like, you're 6 foot and about 195 pounds. Don't get someone on your back hip like you're Luka Doncic. Once you get past someone, go. He pulled back into double moves a couple of times. Like he had one turnover. It was really uggo that actually got him pulled from the game. But like I've had real criticism about his straight line speed, but his ball handling looked pretty good in this series. And if he's going to get past somebody, I just want him to get past. Go through, dribble out if you have to. He made some really nice passes this series. Showed some like playmaking-ish that, you know, quite candidly, Tim Hardaway never has. And that's why he played. And I don't know. I mean, being proud of an NBA player is so paternal, and I don't want to say that, but it's just like I am glad I am wrong on him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. And then, you know, it's also like he didn't do anything in the Thunder and the Clippers series either. He had one pretty decent game in the Clippers series.
He might not play next series. He might not be the guy because
that's okay.
The Celtics are, but it's like you mattered in a Western Conference playoff series in your second year. That's awesome.
Look at what Minnesota would have loved to have someone random from their bench pop off. Like they were desperately searching for it. And then Hardy comes in and does that. And, you know, it's I think two things. One, like Kid going to him says two things. One, you know, he does still have some confidence in him. And two, like he was really scrambling for any type of backup guard minutes because Exum didn't have it. And you could really tell, like Tim didn't have, like you could tell he was just like, okay, well, I'm just going to keep trying all these guys and just see if one of them pops, which, hey, credit to that. Cause some coaches would get stubborn and just play like Tim, Tim was the veteran. Like they would just keep playing Tim Hardaway Jr. and Tim didn't play. I don't think he played in the last two games. I mean, he really wasn't a factor in the series at all minutes wise. So, you know, credit to the coach, you know, for Kid for going to him, sticking with him, not being stuck and being stubborn with it, because Lord knows, especially Mavericks fans, have seen coaches get stubborn with their veteran players. Don't need to go down that road right now.
I'm really glad you brought up Kid, because I as I was listening to our pre-series thing, one of the things I mentioned was the coaching analysis, and I said that Finch being on the back line was going to be problematic for them. Chris Finch really, really sucked. Like I'm sorry. Like he sucked. Every single coaching interview, he bitched about offensive fouls. He bitched about 3-second calls. How about you draw up some offense for your really good players, big guy? Why don't you do something with that? Screaming at the refs, you know, and like I've gotten to arguments with people who like Luka screams at the refs all the time. You tell me when Luka has ever gone in the post game or to the media and bitched about foul calls ever. Has he ever done it? Do you remember?
No, not really.
He's not that guy because it's all on the court. Whereas Finch was just whiny and wouldn't, you know, I said something very specific that I think is funny. Like I'm sure a lot of our like people who comment don't really know what the hell I'm talking about with this. But I tweeted that Chris Finch's coaching demeanor has the energy of a political campaign fundraising text. Like shrill, fake, and ultimately full of shit. And I was very annoyed with just his coaching because I'm sorry, like they have good players. They have really good players, and they should have gotten more from those players earlier.
Do you think it's because Kid, like their backgrounds in basketball? Because Kid was a superstar, all NBA level player, and obviously I don't know what Finch's basketball. You know, he wasn't
sure.
You know, he wasn't that. So, like, do you think that comes with part of it? Like that's the kind of guy that would criticize the refs, and then the guy that's like a superstar that's used to like having to be like, I have to pull my weight, like regardless of what the refs do. Like, do you think that factors into some of that? I
certainly do. I think that's actually a large part of it, particularly in the playoffs. I mean, friend of the show who we clash with basketball opinions like oil and water, and that's fine. Jeff Skin Wade once tweeted out within the last probably 60 or 80 days, something along the lines of like, those of you who have coaching opinions basing it all off of your sort of experience in high school are missing a large part of the point. It drove me crazy just because Skin sometimes does the thing where he's like, I know more than you, which I think in this particular instance, he has a he made a pretty good point in relation to this playoff series, because what Kidd has done he's basically shed a really rough reputation. Guys, like I don't think you understand how much Kidd was not appreciated or respected within NBA circles of like media related people.
And Kirk knows people that would
know people, right? I don't mean to be I just have heard some wild shit from his previous stops that is like absolutely true, and he's changed all of it by pressing the buttons when it matters the most. We quite understandably, as fans, lose our minds during the regular season because we want the Dallas Mavericks to win every game. We want them to be a high seed. Being a 5th seed and making it to the finals is bananas. And Kidd deserves a huge part in that because he's pressing all the right buttons at the right time. I'm sure a lot of people, when Luka said somebody went to him or people went to him and told him before game 5 of the Thunder series that he needs to play with joy, somebody said, well, it'd be crazy if Kidd's not done that before. And I'm sitting here thinking, why? Why is that crazy? You only get so many opportunities before someone tunes you out. I mean, you're a parent. I'm a parent. I have an 8-year-old.
Pick your battles.
You've got to. It's really, and if you're as an outside observer, when if I'm at a restaurant and I watch somebody's kid losing their mind and I'm like, that guy must be a shitty parent. The realistic thing is we don't really know what's going on. Whereas, there's only so many times you can have to get through to somebody before they completely tune you out. And he's just done a good job. Now, I also think the other part of this, they built the roster to what he wants. And that is extraordinarily important. So I just, I've been really hard on him for 3 straight years in a lot of respects, but they're going to the finals. So there's gotta be you just gotta say, okay, I was wrong. I'm okay with that. I don't care. That's what's so annoying to me. There's so many supposed fans of this sport where people would much rather be right about their opinion than have their team win a game. I fucking care. Nobody cares what I say relative to anything. I want the Mavericks to win a title. I want to experience, you were at my birthday party. We had 60 people in a room going nuts when the Mavericks were won game 6. That's what I do it for. I do it for the feeling and to experience something, not because I want to be right. Who cares about being right?
You really don't care. You will take it on the chin if it means that the Mavericks win a game. And
people ever rub that shit in my face, and it's who fuck, again, I'm a Salesforce administrator with my highest level of basketball played was 5A in Texas in 2002. I got my butt kicked in college by women's players as a member of the practice team. Basketball is a pretty straightforward sport to understand. It is a very difficult sport to master. And people have just got to lay off with the whole, I was right. Shut up.
Okay. But having said that, I was right.
You're better. Yeah, but you're much. This is what I tell people. Josh has the ability to look at stuff and go, oh, this is what is happening. And he's right. This is crazy.
So, but I want to kind of get into that now because I know you don't care about your opinions being validated, but I think we should validate some opinions because we've had some lately. And I think we're allowed to take some victory laps right now. Obviously the series prediction, we've talked about that, that's a little harder because, there are a couple of coin flip games that could have made this Mavs in 6. So I'm not going to ride that all the way in.
Sure.
But the reasons they won the series, I felt very confident in that ended up happening. But me and you have been doing this. I think I started doing a podcast the last Harrison Barnes season, maybe the season before Luka got drafted. And then you came in and really took over. I think maybe either the season before Luka got drafted or the year Luka got drafted. And then I think we started regularly recording together Luka's rookie year or something around that time. And I think we've been pretty consistent in our opinions about team building in that if you want to be a better team, brace yourself. You have to get better players and you have to want to get better players. And I think what me and you have been raging against the machine for so many years that got people so pissed off at us in the 2019 offseason, 2020 offseason, 2021 offseason, 2022 offseason was we continually we knew what the strategy was. They were either star hunting, and if they didn't get the star, they were bargain shopping because they believed that they could pay less for the same production, which is not an opinion. That's an opinion that's shared amongst other smart sports people. I mean, the Oakland A's, famously champion that in their Moneyball run. Like, that's not a crazy cuckoo lunatic thought about building a sports team. But me and you have been like, that's fine in small doses. And it's a neat trick to pull off when you can continually turn these low cost signings into high production players. But in the NBA, chalk wins. And it's maybe the most chalk wins sport out of the major 4 pro sports. You do not see upsets in the NBA too often, although we've seen some recently. But at the end of the day, talent wins. There hasn't been, I don't think, what was that stat? It's like a 3 seed has been an NBA champion for the last 30 straight years or something. Like, you don't see 8 seeds winning titles. You don't see 7 seeds winning.
A 5 seed has never won the title. Like a 6 seed did, and I think it was the Houston Rockets.
Like, the Heat making the finals as an 8 seed is ridiculous. Is why it was so crazy, because in the NBA that just doesn't happen. Because with the first round, every series being 7 games, the better team's probably going to win over 7 games. It's not a coin flip like NFL playoffs can sometimes be, because it's 1 game, or MLB can be because of the variance, like with starting pitching, or hockey with the goalie variance. The goalie gets on a hot streak. So we've been saying, they need to spend money, and they need to they need to get talented play. They need to stop trying to band-aid the roster with undrafted players and second-round picks. Dwight Powell, who I've been a staunch defender of for years, he's a second-round pick that they were starting at center for 3 years of the Luka era. So I'm not going to go into all these other players that they tried, because they did their best. I mean, the Mavericks went to the 2022 conference finals with Dorian Finney-Smith and Reggie Bullock as their starting forwards. And now you're just looking at this team and you're like, what? Now they have Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, and PJ Washington, who are all very high pedigree players. Gafford was a second round pick, but Lively 10th overall. PJ Washington was 12th overall from Kentucky. At a certain point, you just have to get good players and you have to get talent. And you can't sign DeLon Wright for this cheap deal because you think, oh, well, we can sign him for cheaper because he's going to actually outperform that contract and perform like a player that gets paid $15 million a year. But we're going to sign him for $9 million a year, and it's going to be the same. No, that's not how that's fun, but it's not always going to work. You need to get good players. And I feel like we've been banging that drum since 2019, so to speak, and they finally did it. They got Derek Lively, who's the highest draft pick they've had since Luka. They traded for PJ Washington, who, like I said, was a former 12th overall pick from Kentucky. They traded for Kyrie Irving, an all-NBA, all-star level player. And then that makes your Derrick Jones Jr. minimum signing hit all the more better, because now instead of him hitting and needing to be your 4th or 3rd best player, he's like your 5th best player. So it just changes things when you actually put good players around your stars. And I think it was driving me and you nuts when they kept trying to be like, well, we have Luka, he'll make up the difference, right? No. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. You need the best to win. And they finally got the best talent this is the most talented team they've had, I think, since the 2011 title team. And I think that's indisputable right now.
I need to, you were off on a great tangent. I don't mean to change directions randomly. But this is a great comment from D Smith. He says, did Dirk reclaim his title of best shooting big man ever tonight? Not sure how this works. The thing, Mr. Smith, and this is my authority. I went and asked Chat GPT a couple days ago this very question: who is the greatest shooting big man of all time? And it answered that Dirk Nowitzki is considered the greatest shooting big man of all time. So sorry, Karl Anthony Towns, if you can't convince the large language models of the world that you are the greatest shooting big man of all time, then it's not going to be there for you. Man, you said so many things that I don't even really know where to go from here. I mean, we're almost at 45 minutes. We had a great time. We're going to be talking about this sort of stuff. We got roughly, I mean, today's Thursday, so the Mavericks play a week from now. We have like 6 days of content to kill. I told my wife how happy I was to be able to go to bed at the normal hour, which is stupid. I can't
fucking wait.
No, but you and I are full of shit though. Like, we don't go to sleep at normal times. What we're excited about, we're excited to not work until 2 a.m. Like, even if you're playing Halo and I'm playing whatever, 4-year-old video game that I'm playing, because I'm always behind on stuff. I'm just excited to not work. But then there's the fact of like, I like doing this. I like talking about basketball to people. I really can't wait to not to get random media requests from around the country, but not talk to anyone in the Dallas area. That's always my favorite thing. You and I are just quietly on our own weird island. I do think this is I think we should kind of table the rest of the stuff that we want to talk about and then reconvene over the next several times we do, because I think you and I will podcast at least 2 more times together before the Mavericks play the Celtics. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, we'll at least do like a proper series preview like we did for the first 3 series, and then we'll probably pop in again with what we're thinking, because 6 days off, you said?
6 days off.
So we gotta fill that time for sure.
We will do just that, because we worked hard to get to this moment as podcasters. We're not players. What I mean to say is that we work hard along with the most attention being focused on the team, so we might as well pay off by working whenever people are also doing it. All right, before we get out of here, I want to give quick shout outs to a few more folks who left tips. Michael Stetler says the Wolves need our best center in the head, and thought they'd actually figured out something strategy wise. That's sad. Glenn King says, again, it sucks for Minneapolis that they had to play the Mavs at full strength with Lively and Kleenex. Unfair. My man Brian, who I hope will be on our next show, says Lively, Josh, and Jaden have become the kind of players we prayed they would be in a year or two. Came up so huge in many big spots in this series and playoffs. Omax is up next. Then in some sort of currency that I don't understand, Don't Even says, credit to Josh Bowe for being correct and level-headed about this team time and time again. We're all calling for Kid to be fired after that 5-game skid after the deadline, and he said we would be fine.
Oh, shit, I forgot about that.
It's a pretty good pitch, man. Then we have, now this is just, you'll laugh, that this is actually this is Taiwanese funds. He says it's actually $10. He says his name is Ellery, and he says Josh Bowe victory lap, but it's a great big figure, and none of us know how math works. But once again, he's in Taiwan. He's giving us $10. This is amazing. And then we got Too Much Mavs, longtime friend of the show, says the Mavs are in the Western Conference Finals champs. We're back in the finals, baby. I'm beyond happy right now. Go Mavs. MFFLs. We are 4 wins away from that second trophy. That's absolutely right, man. Longtime listener Leo says, I listened to the 2019 offseason pod and the Luka draft pods at the end of every season. To watch what this front office has done is special and unprecedented. I think you're right about that, Leo. And then Jordan says, LFG Mavs, much love from Vancouver. Worldwide podcast. Love this show. Love this fan group. Before we go and we go to our next show, I'm not going to put this on Twitter because I don't know. I think tweeting about stuff like this is weird, and it's like asking for it doesn't necessarily matter, but I think it's fun. We had the opportunity to credential somebody from Mavs Moneyball. Josh Bowe will be attending at least one game as Mavs Moneyball's correspondent. We could have had credentials all year, but like you guys know, we have jobs and we cannot and kids, we cannot commit to being that of a beat writer and still making content. But I really think that it's great that Josh is going to get to go to games. We will figure out our podcasting schedule probably a little bit later. It'd be hilarious if you have to record from the thing. We might have to talk to a friend of the show, Nick Angstad, on how the hell that works.
I got Wi-Fi there. I can make it work.
Yeah, and if if I have to record to somebody else because you're working or driving home, then we will figure it out. But Josh has been covering the Mavs at Mavs Moneyball since at least 2012. Is that right?
Summer of 20, right after they won the title.
Almost 13 years. You used to go to games a lot more when you were a younger man. And it's why we always respect the people who go to the games and write stuff because it's like the act of going to a game is physically exhausting, guys. I don't want to, it's sometimes I make fun of folks that don't do as much, but it's like you go to the game and you're there and you're watching if you're taking photos and taking notes, it's just a beat down because there's 41 of them that you have to go to.
You're standing around a locker room for 45 minutes after a game, waiting for players to come in after they're done showering and then you talk to them. It's not like going to a fan where you just go and then the game's over and you leave. You have to hang around and talk to people. I didn't get home till 1 a.m. midnight, between midnight and 1 a.m. And then I'm like, oh, I got to get my story from the game up on the site by tomorrow morning. So I'm not going to bed till 2. And it's just like, woe is me.
No, but it is tiring. It's like why people get so like pissy with Brad Townsend and some of the other folks that are actually writing things, because and there's a fair amount of folks that go and catch video and go home, and they just don't do the actual act of putting out the content is very challenging, and it's why not everybody does it. I couldn't do it. Like I went, Rick Carlisle yelled at me at one, like my first time I went to a thing because I didn't know where I was supposed to be. And like, I'm not scared of shit, but Rick scared me. And I was like, I'm not built for this. I'm not doing it. It's fine. It's fine. Like I'll just sit at home on my couch, and then people criticize me and they're like, you just sit at home on your couch. And I'm like, you're exactly fucking right. It's great.
Where I want to be. Where I want to be.
That's right. Okay, so everybody hang out here for our next show. I can't wait to I'm really looking forward to talking to different Mavs fans. This has been a really wild. I want to say I can't believe we're here, but I can believe we're here. I can believe it. It's outstanding. Everybody listening on the audio only podcast, Apple, Spotify, that sort of thing. The secondary show will be up Friday afternoon and into your weekend. And I bet Josh and I will probably record something again on Sunday, but he and I will both probably cast out and see if there's anybody else we want to talk to about this Mavs team, because
your shadow broker connection.
These finals are going to be fucking gnarly. It's styles make fights, and it's the basketball, the storylines. Can't wait, man. Can't wait.
Especially after last year, because like it felt kind of deflating. Like everyone knew Denver, Miami was going to beat Denver.
That's right.
Relatively easy. Like this will be high level competitive basketball. I feel like for
Joe Mazzulla meets Jason Kidd in the NBA Finals on ABC.
The two best coaches in the NBA.
God, what a sentence. All right, guys, we'll be right back if you're watching on the stream, and we will see you guys tomorrow if you're listening on the audio show. Thanks so much for hanging out. We appreciate all of your support, and go Mavs. Hello, friends. Welcome to Pod Mavericks Mavs Party. I'm Kirk Henderson, and I am still here. It's just 11:15, man. It's 11:15. It's early. We're here live after Josh Bowe and I did a recap podcast, and now it is time for our regular fan-powered show, Mavs Party, where you can join and talk a little basketball with me, share your takes, share, just how happy you feel. If you want to look ahead, we can actually do that this time. I see my man Karam down there, and he was ready to do that after like game 2 because he believes in this team. I'm really pumped, really, really pumped, and I can't wait to talk to you guys. Let me see here. First, we already got 4 people talking, but how you do it, guys, if you're ready to talk. If you're a little confused as to what's going on with this show, there is a comment insofar as in the YouTube channel that will let you join the show. It is a StreamYard app link where you can join the show live. We already got 8 people. The room only contains 10. So if you hit like the room is full notification, check back in after somebody gets booted. We will try to work through people pretty quickly tonight, and we'll see, how many folks we can get through. This is a great time to be a Mavs fan. One quick thing before we get started, I just want to shout out my friend Paul Armstrong, who left us a tip at the tail end of the last show. He said, going For 5 with Jason Kidd, who would have thought that Kidd would be the better coach than Carlisle in the Western Conference, Eastern Conference Finals? Love that, Paul. Really good thought, man. Appreciate your thoughts. Appreciate your tip as well. Okay, coming up first is somehow like one of my people I've known longest in life, who happened to also be in the second row of this of the game. My friend EJ. EJ, what's going on, my guy?
Dude, we are like on cloud 9. It was amazing. We were surrounded by other Mavs fans, thankfully, and my 13-year-old also got a taste of some drunken fan yellingness.
How'd that go?
It was fine. It was great. One of the ushers had to warn a guy.
Tell everybody, you sent me this video in pregame. Tell everybody what your son got to experience. This is just rad.
Yeah, we were there at shoot around. We got there early, and we're just there watching like Maxey throw up shots and Luka throw up shots, and one of the Mavs, like, one of their workout coaches is just like, "Oh, you're pointing to my kid." That's talking to him, and my kid being like kind of oblivious, didn't respond for a bit because he's a teenager. But he was just like, "Oh, you're in Mavs gear already. Come on down to the court." We got invited down to the court. Got to say hi to Nico. He was sitting courtside, and my kid threw up a lob for Daniel Gafford, and it was amazing. Yeah,
you're not selling this right, man. Not only was the act amazing, the actual lob was amazing, to the point to where after Gafford dunks it, he looks over and is like, "That was a great pass."
Oh, and it was good. Even the Mavs like PR lady was like, "You made him work for that one."
I loved it.
Well, like from the get, like you could just tell like Luka went like killer instinct mode, and it was just unbelievable. Like I felt like I was gonna like pass out because he kept hitting shots. That the shot from like the logo, I was just like, no, it's too early in the game.
My wife was putting the baby to bed, and she like texted me, and she goes, "Why do you keep laughing?" And I'm like, yeah. It was one of those things, man. Yeah. Man, what a killer! Like, I've never been to a playoff game. Even going back to when we were in high school and the Mavericks were going regularly, like we're talking 01, 02. Yeah. And I've never gone since we've been here. Now, not as many opportunities over time, but
also they've won a championship since then, and
and you've heard me tell the story,
prices just go up.
Well, I'm the idiot who was in Miami for Game 6, and I did not go because I was like 25, and I was like, "Well, I don't have any money." And my wife was like, "You should go. It's fine. We'll always make more money." And I'm like, "No, we're trying to save for a house." I'm a dummy. I should have gone to the game.
That was my wife's approach too, and
she's correct.
Ridiculous the number of seats that were available today, because it just seemed like people like the regulars didn't want to go to a closeout game. I think people just saw it coming.
I mean, who wants to go to a funeral if it's your funeral? Sometimes you just know, man.
Yeah, that's true. And here's the man of the hour. Warmed up Daniel Gafford.
Killer lob. Great shot.
Over the moon. He's still like shell-shocked, and what a great birthday present, huh?
I've got bad news. It's all downhill from here.
And he admitted that it's better than a Lego set that he wanted.
It is, though I don't know, those Lego sets are pretty good. Man, what else you got for us? Because I'm getting a notification that more people are trying.
No, we're good, man. Thanks for having me on, and keep up the pod. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the finals.
That's right, man. All right, we'll talk soon. All right, coming up next, we're gonna fly through people respectfully. Up next is my friend Karam out in California. What's going on?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Gosh, I just let me tell you, this is why we do this, man. This is there's so, sports joy is rarer than it ought to be because we don't let ourselves have fun. All right. We just don't let ourselves have fun. This is rad.
I feel you. I mean, I've been sick, so as much as I've been wanting to scream, I couldn't. But I mean, I was 24 when they made the finals 13 years ago.
Mhm.
And now, as fans, we've been starving for 13 freaking years.
It's not that long. Like
It's
that's
not.
really not that long.
It's not, but it feels so long because we were given promises by Mark Cuban's stupid words. We're not done yet. Well, we were done because of dry fucking powder. And the thing that I'm really appreciative about Nico Harrison is there's a sense with Nico Harrison where he does not want to settle. And I feel like the old regime, after they won the championship, not only did they settle, but they believed that they would get another superstar because of them winning a championship. And that derailed so much of not only Dirk's career, but the chances of the Mavericks to even be contenders. And as a fan, that's really pissed me off.
Yes, it wasn't fun. That's actually what led me to be such a sociopath by 2016, where I spent all of my 4th of July being so mad at the Harrison Barnes signing.
And they trapped him. Right? They had like a cuff on him when they got Harrison Barnes.
Oh yeah.
I'm just happy. I don't even care if we win the championship. I think just the fact that we've made it to the finals after missing it last year is miraculous in of its own way, and nothing but special and spectacular. And I'm just happy. Like the chance of us winning is there. It's there. But again, Boston is a tough team. But again,
very tough.
But I look at who they played, this year in the East. They haven't played anyone like the Mavericks, that's for sure. And I think that team is going to be tested.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Who do you think will win? Or if you have a prediction, what would be your prediction? Because wasn't Minnesota the best defensive team in the playoffs or going into the playoffs?
They were, like the Celtics were they have to have been a top 5 defensive team, but they are also an unbelievable offensive team. They will just shell you from beyond the arc. So I'm a little concerned. I'm just going to hedge right now and say Mavs in 7 because I believe in my team, but I really think it's a styles make fights. It's how do you adjust? And the Celtics are unbelievably good. I have attempted in all of these shows and all of these series we played to have proper respect for the team we're about to play because they're quite literally higher than us.
Yeah.
They were better in the regular season. So I'm looking forward to this matchup all the same though, because these Mavericks have been really good.
And the Celtics, as good as they've been, they've struggled this playoffs. They lost.
They played down. They played down is how I would frame it.
Yeah, true. But I don't know. I'm going to be a little bit more optimistic, but I am in a sense like you, somewhat of a pessimist after being hurt by the Mavs for so long. What is this still 2-3-1-1? Or did they change that to 2-2?
I don't know. That's a great question. You know what? At MavsMoneyball.com, Jordan Brodess.
Did they change it back to 2?
No,
1-1-1-1-1.
I love this. All right. It is Mavericks versus Celtics. So those first 2 games.
Celtics.
I can't tell. Shoot. I just can't tell. This is annoying.
They put it. Yeah, it's 2-2-1-1-1.
Okay, and I like that better. I don't like the 2-3-2. Like we have airplanes now. Everybody's fine.
Yeah. I'm going to say Mavs in 6.
Yeah.
They'll end it at home.
Love it, man. Well, we're going to talk about this series soon, so I hope you come back to those other shows. All right.
Thank you. One last question. When does it begin? Is it next week?
June 6th. To a week. And I know this because I have to drive my dog out to Texas A&M that morning for a checkup. He had a brain tumor a couple of years ago, and they want to check on him. So I'll be like in my car. Like I'm gonna be a lunatic by the time that game tips off because I will have been up and like loaded up on caffeine. So, all right. Well, I hope you feel better. Okay.
Thank you, every Mavs fan. This is a win for us.
That's right. Talk soon. All right. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, coming up next is Sam. How you doing, Sam?
Hey, Kirk, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You look great. You sound great. You don't. That's a joke because you never show your face. What's going on?
Very, very occasional. I might pop on one day on camera. But two things. I'll be quick. I know everybody wants to jump on. First of all, isn't it so ironic that remember the Mavs played the T-Wolves in the preseason, and Derek Lively was getting dominated.
He got big boyed as he should have.
Yeah, and he was a rookie. I mean, so obviously you get it. He doesn't know anything. To now where he's at, where he was basically, literally, you could say the third best player on the team, as far as the series was concerned. What he brought to the team, like just the progression from where they were at from that point to now is amazing. Nico Harrison, that man did everything he said he was going to do, and it's got us to this point. I owe Jason Kidd an apology. He may not be able to coach for 82 games, but when you get him in the playoffs in a short series, he's coaching his ass off.
That's right.
So I got to give him that. And like we're in the finals, dog. This is so crazy. Even just saying it right now, like
I'm getting just so everybody understands, I am getting drunk as we record this, so I will be getting progressively more hyped as we go along.
Get your drink on. If I didn't have to work tomorrow, I might be right.
I just don't care.
But yeah, it's ironic that this is where we're at, and it's funny because the way that I felt about the T-Wolves was I would have rather played the Nuggets just because I thought we matched up better with the Nuggets. But then as time went along, I convinced myself, you know what? If we do things the way we know how to do things, we can beat the T-Wolves, and we should have swept them. Just being honest, we should have swept them.
Mm-hmm. You're right, man.
Gentlemen's I'll take it. So
you're right, man.
Just now that we're playing Boston, it's obviously going to be the top of the top, the cream of the crop, all that good stuff. Do I honestly think we'll beat them? Right now, I'll say no. Just being honest.
It's okay. They're good. I respect them.
Yeah, but do I know we can beat them? Hell yeah.
Yes.
I know. If everything lines the way we know how to play, if Luka and Kyrie can play the same defense they've been playing this whole playoffs, and we know how Boston, as great as they are, they have a lot of cold stretches too, because they literally rely on the three a lot. And I think everybody's getting caught up in the matchups with Luka's going to guard, Boston's going to guard this guy. They're going to guard Kyrie. They switch a lot. They switch actually all the time. So they don't even try to just stay on that guy. They just switch. So if they do that and they keep doing that, I think Dallas has a shot.
Love it, man. Love the measured take.
So yeah, that's all I got. Let's go, Mavs fans. Let's get it done. Let's celebrate tonight, but then we get ready for next weekend. It's on and popping.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, thanks, man.
A good one.
Okay, we'll talk soon, man. Have a good night. All right, so just so everybody understands, I can only have, because I don't pay for the Uber Deluxe version, because we only normally get 5 to 6 callers at a time. Keep trying, not to sound ridiculous, but if you're in line, stay in line. Try to join the show. I will bring you up here. We will go in order, and we will go quick with everyone who is on here, unless I really don't recognize your name. Right now, all the 9 people that are waiting are all my dear friends who I recognize from past shows. I also may bring Jason Gallagher is attempting to hop into the show, and I may bring him up here in early. I don't recognize this name, so you guys are we're gonna let Johnny Z skip the line here because he just joined the show. Johnny, welcome to the show. What's going on?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You sound great. Where are you?
I am in the mini.
Oh wow!
I was just at the game. Yeah.
That rules. Where'd you fly from?
Hold on a second. Yeah. I'm trying to connect my AirPods, but I am on speaker.
Well, I'll let you talk and be quiet so your people don't have to hear us. What are you thinking? Tell us what you think of the game, man.
I cannot hear you.
Johnny, we'll bring you back up in a little bit. Hey, what about now?
I'm good now. Yeah, sorry. I'm connected to my AirPods now.
There we go. I love technology. You're at the airport listening on your phone. Tell us what you thought of the game while you were at the game.
Oh my God, what an atmosphere! I gotta say, Timberwolves fans are the nicest people in the freaking world. I gotta say, the people in my row were just an absolute blast to hang out with. It was such a good time, yeah. But I just want to say I've been long-time listener, been listening for like 3-4 years now, and I just appreciate everything you guys have done. And it's my first time up here, so.
Well, thank you, Johnny. Where do you normally live since you're in the airport? This is cracking me up.
Yeah, I'm currently in Philly, so.
Okay, this is what I love. Like, I had a guy message me. I think said he was in Egypt or something, and he's like, "I'm up at 3:30 in the morning watching this game," and it's like, everybody that thinks I'm hardcore, like I couldn't fucking do that. Like, flying from Philly to watch the Mavs in Minnesota is fantastic. Good for you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I was glad because the tickets when I was looking originally when the Mavs just made the finals, they were like, oh man, like $500-$600 for nosebleeds. But when the Mavs went up 3-0, I hopped on that opportunity. They dropped to $200-$300, and I'm like, I'm going. So.
Well, good for you, man. Have a safe flight home. Thanks for joining.
Appreciate it. Yeah. So just a quick question: do you have any predictions, real quick, for the Boston series?
I'm in a hedge right now and say Mavs in 7.
I think that's safe. Yeah, that's
all
fair.
right, man. We'll talk soon. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. That's so cool. So cool. That's dedication, joining the show that way. All right. Coming up next then is my friend Glenn. What's up, Glenn?
Kirk, it's great to talk to you tonight. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm going to get progressively more sauced, and then I'm going to hangover tomorrow, and it's going to be worth it.
Yes, I completely am with you. Okay, here's my weird take of the night. I always go back in time. 1988, I believe it was, Derek Harper dribbled out the clock in Game 6 when the Mavericks could have won and gone to the NBA Finals. Mm-hmm. 2006, the Mavericks had a 2-0 lead, and then in Game 3, they were up by like 15 or 20 before Tim Donaghy and his team decided that the more profitable for the Mavericks to lose that game. It's just true. It's just true. 2011, the Mavericks won, but I felt like they were sort of giving us that to make up for the Tim Donaghy thing. Honestly, I didn't feel good about it as much as I should have. 2021 was it that the Mavericks made the Western Conference Finals with Dwight Powell at center?
22, but yeah, it's two years ago.
22, yeah, and we knew we had gone as far as we can go. This team feels like the legitimate team, the best team since 2006 to me, and I'm so happy because listen, Tyson Chandler was great, but he could not do all the things actually that Derek Lively can do. Isn't that crazy?
Well, and he went on the All of the Smoke podcast. I recommend listening to it, where Tyson is talking about Lively and how the Mavericks have worked with him, and it's been really something. He's a special kid, man, who I don't think we're gonna properly appreciate even now.
I don't think anyone in the national media appreciates what the Dallas Mavericks are, because the national media watches basically offensive highlights, and they don't watch they're watching the ball. When you got to watch off ball to understand what the Mavericks are doing right now with their defense. And I didn't understand, so I started watching you, and I appreciate this. That, hey, 2 points that your defense prevents is just as good as 2 points that your offense gets.
Yeah.
And this Mavericks team can do it on both ends, and it's really exciting.
I'm happy with it, man.
I know you're trying to get through a lot of people.
No, you're great.
One more thing here. Statistically speaking, the Mavericks have a greater chance of winning when I'm wearing this shirt.
I believe you. But
we did lose Game 4. Mm-hmm. I realized that my dog was off at the boarding place for Game 4. I got her back into position for Game 5. Statistically speaking, our best chance of winning is when my dog is in position and I'm wearing this shirt. So that's the best I can do. But I'm
really glad you're analyzing this level of stuff. It's very important. I agree with you.
It's just math. It's just statistics.
No, this is how fandom works. You're fucking insane all the time, and it feels great.
June 6th, however, I'm sure you know who this is. Eric Nadel is my friend of 20 years. He's coming to Vegas where I'm at. We're going to the Grateful Dead concert, the Dead Company. This has been planned for like a month now. So I have to miss that game. And then Traufaz, my dog, will have to be out of position for watching
We'll
the
see,
game.
man.
So I can't.
Look, the Mavericks never win game one anyways.
Well, honestly, I feel like this screwed up Jason Kidd a little bit because his rope-a-dope strategy of you let the team win game one, that's the home team, you suck them in a little bit, you analyze what they're doing. I felt like this was harder for him to win a series where they won game one. So maybe I'm doing everybody
Chad
a
is
favor.
freaking out that Eric Nadel is your friend.
What? Eric Shush. Eric Nadel has been my buddy for 20 years. It's not a work-related thing. It's just something we've known each other since I was a blues DJ back in Los Angeles, and then Eric is a huge music fan.
No, you got it. Yes. Yeah. No, that's fantastic. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you joining once again. Also appreciate the tips from earlier. All right.
I tipped you on game. I'm so drunk. I watched about 10 minutes of your Game 4 podcast here after Game 5 without realizing I was on the wrong.
What are they talking about? Why are they talking about the Mavericks losing? That's good, man.
Yes, but yeah, you got a tip on that one too. Thank you so much, Kurt, for everything you do. Bless you.
Oh yeah, of course.
Have a good
All right, so Jason Gallagher is texting me and he's like, I can't join. There's too many people that are in here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to punt Glenn, and then we're all going to not join the show, and we're going to let Jason Gallagher join the show, and then I'm going to bring him up here. Jason Gallagher, if you guys don't know, is the producer behind some of the most successful NBA podcasts out there. He's also a longtime Mavs fan. Oops, sorry, Glenn. We're going to let Jason, are you going to join in these 30 seconds in which I'm pressing the button? He might have already stopped listening, which would be my favorite thing if that happened. I'm going to filibuster for just a few seconds. We're going to see if he's going to join. I want to give a shout out to my friend Do Dang, $5. He says, congrats, Mavs fans. Really appreciate that. Actually, Do, he gave again. He said, I'm drinking the Mavericks Kool-Aid. Jason, we're letting you join. Everybody's holding off to let you join. Longtime friend of the show, Jeremy Sennett, said, yeah, I had more comments, but YouTube keeps blocking things. YouTube blocks curse words. It makes me angry because it's my show and I can't type the F word into the comments. Like, it's my show. All right. We're going to bring Jose up and we're going to see if Jason will still be able to join. He might have quit already. Who knows with Jason? Jose, what's up, my friend?
Man, Kirk, it's been a journey. I remember when you were doing shows on the Green Room Spotify app.
That's right.
And I remember I joined when we just beat the New York Knicks. I think KP was already on the team with us at that time. But like to go from that to, you know, the Western Conference Finals run that we had with Jalen Brunson and Spencer Dinwiddie to going to a catastrophic season where we end up getting Kyrie, and now we're a year removed from that, and now we're in the Western Conference Final. Well,
amazing.
We're in the finals now with Kyrie, and the I made a point earlier about how Kyrie has been traded to the Western Conference Finals. I mean, not Western Conference, but Western Conference, period. And a half a season ago, and is now already ascended to a Western Conference champ and is about to play his former team in the finals. This is amazing storytelling. Like, the NBA script writers are in their bag right now, in their satchels. Also, to see KP in the finals again, that's amazing. To see Luka and Tatum fight for their first NBA championship will be amazing. But tonight it's all about the Mavericks, and for Luka to go out there and set the tone that he did in the first quarter was just astronomical. That's what we needed in Game 4, but it didn't happen. The shots weren't falling. It's all good.
Did you see Brad Townsend say he hit 2 half-court shots in pregame?
I seen one of the video. I didn't see the second one, but
it's like this motherfucker is locked in.
But like that's the thing about Luka. I seen a tweet that said like Luka is such a sicko that he probably just threw Game 4 just so he could get back on the road and perform in front of the Minnesota Timberwolves fans and send them home sad. I mean, I don't like that, of course, but hey, if it works, it works. I can't be too mad about it.
You've been waiting in the chat here. Have you seen this video that friend of the show, Grant Afseth, took of Luka drinking a beer and Michael Finley taking it away from him?
Oh yeah, yeah. That
Holy shit!
That little detail I didn't notice until Shieko pointed it out, and I was just like, "Oh wow!" But like, Finley's probably like, "Hey, we have another series to go." Like,
he's
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
but it's
like
so funny. Like one of the funniest things that happened the last few days is somebody like Jack, Mavs Moneyball contributor, made a joke where it's like Luka's extending the series on purpose because he's trying or the Mavericks are extending the series on purpose because we don't want Luka to have time off. And like seeing the man like just drinking a beer post game, good for him. Fuck it. Like I just like look, man. Some of us gentlemen, ladies out there in the world, some of us really struggle with fitness. And like when we talk about Luka's fitness, some of it is because it's like we're talking about ourselves here. All right. And then
self-projecting.
It's right. So it's like, how fucking gnarly would it be if the fat guy goes and wins the NBA championship?
Hey, Patrick Mahomes, your quarterback has a dad bod, and
that's right.
Won a Super Bowl. So,
that's right, man.
I mean, the dad bods are probably going to be killer. They're
right,
in
man.
now.
I love it.
But I was just gonna say, like, I saw a little bit of Jaden Hardy on Instagram Live. I saw a little bit of PJ Washington on Instagram Live as well, and I think it was Tyler Hero who commented like, "You went from Charlotte to the finals, how?" And PJ just cracked up, started laughing. It was like, let him know, let him fucking know. Like,
I love it.
So overall, like, this is such a great moment because I didn't think that a rookie would contribute the way he has in Derek Lively. I mean, there was a lot of questionable moments from Gafford in this playoffs run that I was just like, man, we just got to go with Lively. But Daniel Gafford coming up with huge blocks in the moment against Cat.
He's played great
Edwards.
The last two games. Gafford leveled up the last two games is my take.
Absolutely. And also something I don't want to forget because this was just beautiful. This is how I knew we were just going to outright win the game besides Luka's first quarter. Is Kyrie pulled up for a transition three, I think, or step back three, and he just knocked it down over Alexander. It was just beautiful. It was just in the moment. I was just like, man, like who's stopping these guys? They put up both 36 apiece. And just one thing that I want to give to all the listeners down below, like we have two of the best closers in the planet, on the planet, like
in history.
If the Celtics want to beat us, do not get us in the clutch because Luka and Kyrie are just demonic. I think they'll provide ways to really get us over the hump in the clutch, and I just want to say, Mavs in 6. Let's go get this chip.
Let's go, Jose.
I missed the 2011 parade. I am not missing this fucking parade. Bet on that.
All right, man. Thank you so much. You're a good friend. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you.
All right. Gonna bring up my man Jason Gallagher next. No, we got people waiting, but Jason has been badgering me, and I also had somebody call for him. So hey, look, folks who are looking to join the room, this is how this thing works. I bring everyone up until it's time to go. Okay. I will be here until 3 a.m. if we have stuff to talk about. All right. This is what I do this shit for. It's for fun. It's for you. I love this community. Coming up next, Jason Gallagher.
First off, you emailed me. I was not.
The people have clamored for you. They clamored for you, man. We had people in the chat saying, "Where is Jason?" All right.
Here I am.
Thank you for persevering.
Of course. Just battling the difficulties of StreamYard. I know the pain. But here we are. It feels so good, Kirk. It feels so good because you and I have been on the front lines, along with many people in the comment section, to tell people that the stars of this team are different. Obviously, many of us were wrong about Kyrie. We own it. We're happy to be wrong because the guy fucking rules, and he's been an awesome leader. and an awesome teammate, an awesome co-pilot with Luka. And so I want to start there about the shit I was wrong about. That.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We were wrong as hell about Kid.
Sure.
In a lot of ways. And honest to God, I've never been happier to be wrong.
Yep.
Sometimes the aesthetics, they don't match the reality, and that's fine. For me, like, I didn't understand, I was like, is this guy motivating? I don't know. It's a long game, like that soft spot. But the man is a king, clearly. And the adjustments, everything like that, the decision to not play THJ, which is a hard decision to make. That's a hard decision to make. And he did it, and he did it at the right time. Shout out, Kid. Now, let's talk about the shit we were right about.
Everything else.
Everything else. Everything else. And just like Kid, we're not perfect. We've got our flaws, but we come through where it matters. And by God, you and I were on the fucking front lines about Luka basically since he was drafted, since before he was drafted.
Sure. Shout out to my man, Brian Schrader. You can find him, Brian J. Draft, or Brian J. I'll send it later, but he's like, I'm sitting there watching Dennis Smith like 10 games into that season. And it's like, look, man, Dennis Smith has something, but he doesn't have it. I watched Luka, and anybody that watches this guy as a teenager, like,
it was undeniable. It was undeniable. And
the only reason he fell is because of Mina Kimes basically saying he ordered double nachos at a Hard Rock Cafe during an interview. I'm fucking convinced.
And then little did we know that was the strength. And, Kirk, one thing that's really funny to me is that I've been on the Bill Simmons podcast one time. I've made one appearance. It was prior to this draft. And he said, what would you do at this pick? And I said, if Luka's available, you get him. No doubt about it. And if you don't, you go Trae Young. Honest to God, a really good look by me.
Sure.
For that high profile of an appearance. And then he got drafted. It is documented my reaction. I bought a cigar pre the draft.
I was so drunk.
He gets drafted.
That podcast is so funny. I was so drunk by the time Josh and I recorded, because it was all I had wanted for a year. Like, that Slam doesn't put this stuff on, but Ben Collins, now the owner of The Onion, that's a weird sentence, wrote an article about me for Slam where he's like, Kirk willed this into existence, and then shared a bunch of my tweets. And it's like, look, man, they're only like, certain players have that certain, and you in your position with what you've gotten to do have probably talked to some of the most amazing athletes on the planet.
Yeah.
And like, there's just a certain thing that separates those guys who can do the different thing. Like, my opinion, Anthony Edwards, probably one of those guys. He's just young.
100%. 100%. I was at game 4, the only game that they won. Wolves back. Anyways, they won one fucking game. They started wearing Wolves back shirts. Are you kidding me? Anyways, Anthony Edwards, though, he wasn't like shooting the ball amazing, but the way he was leading his group, you could tell he wanted the shit. You could tell he wanted the.
He's a leader. He's the dude.
The same way Luka looked at him in game 3, and I respected it. Anthony Edwards is the shit. Now the difference that just at least right now, and I've had this take for a while, and I feel very strongly about this, that Luka has a bit of MJ and LeBron wrapped in one. Okay. In this, he's as smart as LeBron. He's very, very smart, and he is as big a dick as MJ. LeBron's not really a dick. He's not going to take things personally. Luka takes things personally. He's the guy who's like
screaming at that person with the white handkerchief. Like, what is that person doing?
Screaming at Josh Green, screaming at everybody.
You're going to love this story. So apparently on the Timberwolves subreddit, somebody posted, like, if you're going to the game tonight, don't cheer or don't scream at Luka. Don't say anything. Like, silence makes him uncomfortable, but cheering against him gives him energy.
It's like throwing a thumbtack at the Hulk. Keep going. I want to just imagine I get in a fist fight with someone and the person breaks my nose and breaks my legs and breaks my ribs.
Sure.
And on the way out, they stub their toe. And then I show up the next day with a Jason back t-shirt.
It's just a flesh wound.
What the fuck? Why would they do that? Anyways, I'm just ecstatic because it validates a lot of what we have been talking about with what makes him different. Anyone who's watching knows that the guy is different. That if you had said at the beginning of the year, if you had said that a team that heavily needs Dante Exum, the rookie Derek Lively, even Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, Derek Jones Jr., who was not great in his last situation, you would have been like, there is no way that team's coming out of the West. Nevertheless, guys are better when they play with Luka. I don't know if you've heard much about Dorian, God bless his soul, or Spencer, but like guys are just better when they play with him. Like he is a fucking transcendent player. Guys want to play with him. He's a winning player. I don't know what else sort of narrative there is to write about him at this point, but I'm sure they're going to do their damnedest to figure it out. But here we are, and we'll be there when those bastards come up with more shit.
I love it, man. Thanks so much for the people wanted to hear from you. Okay. You're the people's champion in that you were arguing for Luka to be MVP. They wanted you in here. They wanted you. And so appreciate you joining in on the show. Thanks so much for hanging out, and we'll talk soon. Okay.
Yeah, buddy.
All right. Jason's the man for joining the show. I badgered him to join, but it's because he has great takes. Everybody understands this. So I love all of you because you guys have great takes. All right, we're going to fly through, folks. All right. So coming up next from across the world, Sudarshan, what is going on? What time is it where you are?
It's about 10:25 in the morning.
All right. So you've had a great day. You started the day probably at about 5, and you got to watch Luka Doncic destroy people for your morning coffee.
Yeah, but the game starts at 6. I don't know what it is about the
6,
NBA.
okay.
I don't know.
Like time is not my forte. I've been drinking wine. It happens.
No, that's good. No, what I was saying was I don't know what it is about the NBA. They cannot start a game on time, but
It's 15 minutes later than any. Like you have to. They say the start time, but then what you need to look for. Follow Chuck Cooperstein. He'll tell you the tip time. That's really what matters.
Yeah. So a couple of things I want to say. First of all, amazing game. It was great that they just came out and stepped on their necks and said, you know what, fuck this. We are not going back to Dallas to play this team.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing was, no one is talking about the fact that we beat the number 1 seed, the number 3 seed, and the number 4 seed.
I am. I specifically wrote it in my recap where I'm like, the Mavericks earned this. There's a whole lot of weird talk, and there will continue to be weird talk. Well, you're here like big time Billy Simmons talking about how the Mavericks, they're actually quite good. No, the Mavericks earned this shit by playing the best teams. The end.
100%. And what's really interesting now that it's sort of looking back on this, it's like they talk about Tim Connelly sort of building the Timberwolves to beat the Nuggets, right? I think Nico Harrison just built the team to bulldoze everyone. I think he might be your biggest fan actually, because he's sort of listened to you sort of begging the team to get bigger, and he said, you know what, I'm just going to get the biggest, baddest motherfucker.
Isn't it crazy? So this is an area where I was wrong. I've wanted the Mavericks to find more and more shooting, but Rob Mahoney of The Ringer, and I interviewed him about this, talked about how the Mavericks want to be bigger and have more athleticism. And that obviously has worked, where the shooting has almost been secondary. Like you're happy with Derek Jones shooting because he does so much other stuff, versus in 2022, the Mavericks literally needed Reggie Bullock shooting to get as far as they did, and everything else was secondary. And so it's such an interesting inversion of where they were versus where they are.
Right. And it's awesome. And one more thing, I know they keep talking about the Timberwolves as this super young team.
They're not.
The Mavs on average must be much younger than them. I think it's just Anthony Edwards who's really young on that team.
Yeah.
Everyone else is 26 and above or something like that. I think
Mike Conley's closer to my age than he is to Anthony Edwards' age. Rudy Gobert. Yeah, Karl Anthony Towns is kind of prime age, but they might have to they're over the second apron, I think, and they have 5 roster spots to fill. Like they're in a trouble spot. Like I don't want to kick a team when they're down, but they're going to struggle.
Yeah, after game 3, Bill Simmons was like Karl Anthony Towns is like prime Washington material. So it was. I mean, yeah, it's amazing what this team is and what it actually could be over the next few years. I mean, you're going to lose Tim Hardaway Jr. for sure this offseason. He's going to be shipped off to Siberia, possibly. And you have Omax, you have possibly Jaden Hardy taking another step, Josh Green hopefully figures shit out. I mean, we keep saying that every season, but yeah, I mean, it's an amazing time to be a Mavs fan.
That's absolutely right.
Right. So yeah, that's all I got. I mean, thanks for doing all of this, Kirk. See you on June 6th.
Well, if not before, but I appreciate you joining us live, okay?
Yes.
All right, man. Talk soon. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll talk soon.
Yes, take care.
All right, coming up next then is Julio Caesar. What a great name. Julio, what's up? Julio, can you hear me? One more time. I can hear some static in the background there. Can you hear us? All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove you from the thing, and then I'm going to bring up somebody else, and then you can maybe try to rejoin here in a minute, okay? All right, coming up next is Henry. What's up, Henry? Love the avatar. It is Karl Anthony Towns clutching his knees like he has just seen a ghost. What's going on?
Luka Doncic. Luka. I'm trying to find the Shaq's playlist, and I can't fucking find it, and I'm upset about that right about now. Never will I doubt Luka again, fam. Oh my God, that was filthy, disgusting the way he came out with this game.
Was that better or worse? Did you watch the Suns game way back in the day?
So I did, but I wasn't an MFL then. Obviously, I came over with Kyrie. Sure. So, but about I think second quarter leading into halftime, or whenever he crossed old dude and had to pull up, and I'm just like, good Jesus. And of course, the Chris Paul meme, he had a 3, cut it to 42. And I think he had. Do you follow Jimmy High Roller on YouTube? And he did the stat where Luka Doncic had more points and rebounds in the entire Phoenix lineup kind of halftime. That was insane.
That one was great.
That was absolutely insane. Where do I start? Shout out to Jason joined. Shout out to Jason, holla Luka. But his 1 point he was 100% wrong about.
Ooh.
He said that it was hard to bench Tim Hardaway. No, the fuck it wasn't. Boy, I've been trying to get Tim Hardaway to Bangladesh since about January. I'm so glad that he finally sent him to the bench. Jaden Hardy's been better than Tim Hardaway for the longest. I would have gave Omax minutes back when we had Grant Williams, which feels like 2 years ago. I would have gave Omax way more minutes because he's wing defender. I think he's a B+ version of Pascal Siakam. Strong, athletic, so he been should have did that. But prediction, finally, Supreme Cop. He took him a while. Kyrie remembered he's not a substitute gym teacher. He remembered that he is really good at basketball. So I'm glad that we got him. I have this in 6. I'm going to go Mavs. How do you feel about Derek White and Holiday being the primary defenders on Luka and Kai so that way JT and JB stay rested?
I don't think those two will bother Kyrie or Luka. And I think because Kyrie doesn't enjoy height. He doesn't enjoy because there was this incredible, I'll have to send this to you later. There's this incredible Instagram video that talks about how ridiculous Kyrie's like how he just makes easy layups hard and then he makes hard layups easy. That really made me laugh. And I think longer wing defenders like just bother him. So, those two guys that you mentioned, I think are each about 6'4", whereas I think they're going to have to put a wing on Kyrie if they want to really close him out. But then that means putting, they're just really not like terrifying, but maybe terrifying is right. They're just good on defense because it's like if you're putting Drew Holiday off ball, oh my God, like that's a scary person. Like he can just cause chaos. So I mean, I just have a healthy level of respect for the Celtics at this point.
I
should
have a healthy level of respect, but fam, you got torched by fucking TJ McConnell and Andrew Nembhard. Like, I'm sorry, that does not instill fear into me. Like, it doesn't.
That's pretty fair, man.
Like, when Luka and Kyrie walk into town, fam, like, I really don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I don't know. They're 5 out. They do, if the 3 ball isn't falling, they're pretty much useless. They stretch it out. JT takes their sidestep 3-pointer way too often. They switch everything. They ISO.
Jason Tatum
Yeah,
is just not it.
he's not. And again, you mentioned that with Jason, having that that it factor. Kyrie has that shit in spades.
Sure. And
Luka
they love
has that
that's
shit
the
in
other thing
spades.
that I look forward to psychoanalyzing to death. The people who were on the team when Kyrie was on the team, I think I've heard some stories about how by the time that he was gone, they were ready for him to go because he was just a little too much. Now, that's probably everybody other than Brown, but Kyrie just commands this sort of je ne sais quoi. There's something about Kyrie that NBA players love. And so I can't help but wonder if they will be captivated against playing against him. Does that sound silly?
No, not really. But my thing is again, Kyrie does have a history of shitting his pants when he goes to Boston because he's still trying to be buddy. We had this thing together, and he doesn't really put his foot on their necks because they used to be friends. And I hope he gets over that shit ASAP because they don't care. But I don't know if you watched it. There was an episode where Jason Tatum goes on Old Man and 3, JJ Redick's podcast when it first came out. And the first year, people, again, I've said this before, but they forget they went on a 16-game winning streak. They were the number 1 seed in the East, and obviously he gets injured going into the playoffs. Second year, they buy into the media hype. Oh, you didn't need Kyrie. You got to the Eastern Conference, yada, yada, yada. And JT admits that Kyrie was the best player. They were the leader, but they stopped listening to him because they allowed the outside noise from the media to get into the locker room. And that's when they were young, no tattoo. Deuce wasn't even born yet. And then they continued to ISO, and they felt like they were better than what they actually are. It's right. Again, you played sports. It's one thing to deal with the X's and O's. It's another thing to deal with another man's pride. So that Boston didn't go as well because they listened to the outside noise. I think they would have won if they would have followed him. But it is what it is. Bygones be bygones now. But that JT admitted they did not listen to Kyrie that second year, and it bit him in the ass. So Mavs in 6. I hope you have a 50 ball. I hope Kai steps on Lucky in that racist ass fucking town. And I'm looking forward to it.
My man, thanks so much for hanging out and staying up late.
See you, man.
All right, we've tipped over into Friday morning, but now we got my friend Julio, who's going to come back up and talk with us. Julio, what's up, man?
Hi, Kirk. Can you hear me now?
I can. Thanks so much for staying up late and talking with us.
I'm sorry about that.
Oh, shit happens, man. Technology is weird.
Yeah, no, that was me, not technology. All right, I will try to be brief. First, I am having Mavs in 6. And the reason is I would say Mavs in 7, but I feel very uncomfortable to win the last game in Boston.
Ooh.
So Mavs
how many
in
road
6.
games, you may know this, how many road games do you think the Mavericks have won this playoffs?
Oof. I don't know, 5? 9? Holy shit. Okay.
They've won 3 road games every series. These Mavs do not fuck around.
They really do not. I believe we're going to win the first game in Boston.
Ooh.
Because they are not prepared for our defense. So I was looking at the Boston series, and they got like either bad teams or banged up teams, right? Mm-hmm. They were never tested. They are a great offense, yada yada yada, but they were never tested. So when they play with us, I think they will shit their pants first game. So Mavs in 6. That's the first thing. The other reason why I think Mavs in 6 is because, and this is a Brazilian thing. I don't know if there are other Brazilians here, but if they are going to crack up. Jason Tatum is a popcorn. And what that means in Portuguese is...
I don't know, but I want to know.
When you give too much heat, it pops.
Okay. I love this. This is spicy. Yes.
Yeah. I think we are going to see... Now, if you look at the last year, I believe Boston was winning like 3-0 and then, against the Heat. And then the Heat pushed to 7 games, right?
Yes.
That is going to happen. Jason Tatum is not the superstar that people want him to be, right? The other thing that I want to say is about Minnesota, real quick. I believe Anthony Edwards is going to be a superstar.
I do too.
He has it. He has it.
Did you
Right?
see of him and Luka after the game in the back in the like kind of the underbelly of wherever Minnesota plays? They hands, and it's just because Anthony walked off the court. He did not shake anybody's hand in the post game. Like the asshole in me totally loves, because I'm just like, when I'm mad, I'm like, fuck everybody.
Yeah, fuck you.
And so he came down off it and shook hands, and it's just, it looks like the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. No, I'm sorry, the Michael Jordan, Larry Bird handshake, where Larry Bird is kind of being like, fuck you. It's great. I love it. It's yeah, but go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no, that's good. I believe Anthony Edwards will win the championship in Minnesota one day. He's that good. They will have to get rid of Cat for that to happen. I do not believe in Cat. I don't know what. There's something wrong with that guy that I really don't like it.
Played hard tonight though. Like, I was kind of sick of his shit, and he really, really, really impressed me with how hard he played. Like, because he had 28 points and 12 boards. He was like the only guy other than Ant that was like, I'm gonna try.
I agree. I mean, if he understands that his game is at the ring and not shooting threes, then he can be the guy. But he wants to shoot threes. He wants to be the better, greatest, biggest, blah blah, whatever, shooting threes. I really don't like Cat, so I don't know. I think they'll have to get rid of him eventually. Now, one short note just to make fun of Spencer Dinwiddie, who decided to go to the Lakers instead of Dallas, with an incredible quote comparing when you get into a fight, your daddy, your mama, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. So you went to Lakers, didn't have enough playing time, and played terrible when he was in the court. Yeah.
Spencer Dinwiddie is a loser.
Totally. He could be here winning a championship, but now he's, I don't know where.
So just for full disclosure, everybody, I am quite drunk now. So let's keep it going.
All right. So two more things, right? For the next thing is, I'm very excited to see Derek Lively grow. I think Derek Lively floor, from what I saw this year, is Rudy Gobert with a jump shot. Floor. That's what I think. I think
I want to see him shoot a jump shot, though. But yes.
Yeah, me too. But from what I heard, he has it, right? Mm-hmm. So let's see. Hopefully, the next 2 years he starts shooting, and then we are going to be unbeatable. And the last thing, sometimes when I see our team missing too much, and I'm not talking about Luka and Kyrie because they carry a very, very heavy load, I wonder if they need more reps. Do you know who Hortensia is? Brazilian basketball player. She's from the same era as Oscar Schmidt.
Okay. I do know Oscar Schmidt, but tell me more. Go ahead.
Okay. So Hortensia is considered the best female basketball player in Brazil.
Yes.
All time, right? And she said, I don't know if it's true, but I want to believe it, that after every game, she went to the court and shoot 1,000 makes, not tries, makes. We need some of that from our players, right?
That's
Josh
right.
Green, Derrick Jones Jr., PJ too, right? See if they start like getting that hand right. That's all that I had, Kirk.
Hey, I really appreciate you staying up late and joining the show with us. All right.
Hey, thank you for the show. This is incredible.
Right. I love it. We'll talk soon. Be good. Have a great day. Okay, guys. Julio joined the show. We're gonna bring up Brian next, and then I have to bring up my friend Ben, because Ben is my friend. Actually, all of you are my friends, but you guys will appreciate this. Oh, where did Dylan go? Dylan just dropped off. Shit, Dylan. I didn't mean to. Dylan, come back. I'll bring you up. It's just so hard keeping people live. I want just because everybody's so patient with me. Dylan, if you come back, you will join next after Brian. Dylan, what's going on?
Yo, what's good, Kurt? Man, look, We're going to the finals. We're going to the finals.
Does it feel
Oh
good?
man, it feels. Kirk, conference finals, 11 seed, NBA finals. Nobody can take this away from me. This just feels awesome. This is great. You know what I'm saying? And the path we took to get here too. Like I'm not even here to poop on the Celtics path. Like it wasn't any murders or anything, but the teams we went through, especially in the last 2 rounds to get to this point, and the way we handled ourselves, I don't fear any team. I don't care how talented that first 6 or 7 in their rotation is, right? Like people are gonna discuss all week the series in terms of uh, what we're gonna be able to do against their defense. When frankly, it should be the other way around.
Oh, I
They should be
can't wait.
performing
Like
against-
the number of dumb shit things that are going to be said about the Mavericks. I cannot wait.
because like I've heard a lot of things about like just in the last like day or so about you got to give the Celtics credit for how they close games in the clutch because that was the big problem that they had in the last couple of playoff runs, and I agree. They've been really good in the clutch, and they've been really good at closing teams out, especially in that Indiana series when they should have lost like 2 of those games, and Indiana gave the game up in some ways, and they were just like, "Fine, if you're gonna give it to us, we'll take it," and they closed games out. They're going to be trying to do that against a much better defensive team than what they played in this playoffs. Much better. This is the best defense in the playoffs. Period. Point blank. And they need to be more concerned. People need to be more concerned about what they're going to be able to do against our defense, as opposed to vice versa. Because, like you said before, you really need length and speed to bother Kyrie, and Jaylen Brown just simply doesn't have the foot speed. Tatum is going to have to be on somebody else because he's their 4, and that's just leaving that's asking a lot of Drew Holiday or Derek White. And then, look, man, there was that one game after the trade deadline where Jaylen Brown really got the best of Luka on both ends, and he had a great game. There's no disputing that. That's not how it's going now. This is a completely different team. So, yeah, I would be careful discussing the series in terms of what we're going to be able to do against them as opposed to vice versa, because we've shown improvement against far superior talent how we can close games out and how stout our defense is.
That's right. So you're a Cowboys fan, right?
Brother, I got off that narcotic a couple years ago. I am a Jaguars fan.
Well, so I have a really important question.
Yes.
And this is it's been bothering me for a day. How is Ant gonna get Micah Parsons his shoes?
It's gonna have to be FedEx because he ain't coming back to Dallas. Not unless he got a vacation home here. You know what I'm saying? Unless he like to come and trip through Dallas like Zion do, then I don't see no reason for him to come here.
Micah, if you're listening, go fuck yourself.
I don't know why they let those bums into the game, man.
No,
Like,
because you know what? He's a dummy who wears he's a jersey floating dummy who wants the tickets and the seats. And so here's the thing about that. If you're going to do that, don't get caught being a fraud. Now, the one thing I will say about that is like when you saw Ant and him standing side by side, that's the vision of Ant being a football player. Jesus Christ. Talk about a man.
That's like you think because of all the Jordan Compton stuff, you would think Ant is like 6'6". He's not. He's only like 6'4". That brother is stout. That dude is built like
I mean, Ant, like if you would have put Ant on the NFL diet, he would have been 6'4", 270 pounds and would like break whole defenses.
He would be Myles Garrett. He could add that kind of weight and still be as athletic as he like. Oh God, that's a whole other can of worms. Yeah, and
this is an incredible comment from one of my friends at Bright Side of the Sun. Darth Vader says, "Congrats, Kirk. What a feeling. All I have is jealousy knowing we never should have drafted DeAndre Ayton." God, let me tell you something, guys. There's simply nothing better in sports than a person who is a good sport. Like when the Mavericks get ran off, like it's just people that are so set, like anybody that can have a joke, like God, good for that guy. Love, like, because it's right. It's like it's fine. It happens. It goes over. You know, the Mavericks had dumb shit happen to them for years, and this is where we are. Anyway, Brian, what else are you thinking?
I'm glad you brought up people who can take a joke and people who are good sports. At Phil Fan account on Twitter, go fuck yourself.
With
Eat that
that,
up,
we're going to
Luka.
head off to the next man. We got a whole room full of people. This is preposterous. It is 12:15. We've been going on for over an hour. We're going to keep this party going for a while. Thanks so much for hanging out.
Yes, sir.
All right. So if my man Dylan is out there listening, I saw him sort of frustratingly get off. I apologize. Dylan, you come back in. I will bring you up first. But up next, I got to, and Brandon, I see you waiting. Mr. Green, Simon, Krishna, everybody's up late. We're going to get to everybody. But I got to get to my friend Ben. Ben has a unique job. We're not going to talk about that unique job, but let me just tell you that I have some of the weirdest friends across all of sports. Ben, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going? We fucking did it, baby.
We did it. Does this feel good for you as an East Coast Mavs fan? You're up late watching the ball. What's going on?
First of all, I'm in Chicago now because of the new job we're not going to talk about, but
you're still in the East Coast because Chicago is a hellhole.
That's true. Very good point. Very good point. It is spiritually of coastal.
You're spiritually Midwestern now, even though you have to stay up late to watch sports.
I had to stay up late and just eat Italian beef all day.
That's okay.
But, dude, baby, we fucking did it. And 6 years ago, this month, we were like, you and I, all we did was be like, how the fuck did the Mavs get Luka Doncic?
That's right. I was standing in a Trader Joe's parking lot where I'd been begging you to write something for Mavs Moneyball for like 3 years and you just wouldn't do it because you had a real job. And you sent me it over direct message over Twitter. And it was essentially saying the Mavericks should do whatever they can to get this guy. And I remember this. I'm like sitting there and my wife's like, what are you doing? I was like, shh. You go into the horrendous Springfield, Virginia, Virginia's a hellhole. Trader Joe's, and I'm gonna post this article from my friend who doesn't write for me. She's like, well, that doesn't make sense. Why would you post something from somebody who doesn't write for you? I'm like, shh, trust me. This is important.
I mean, to be fair, the research came from you because you had retweeted a guy who brought up, well before this was a thing that people thought about, who brought up Luka's deceleration, right?
Yeah, it was that P3 Sports Academy. That's right.
Yes. No one brought that up before the draft except for this guy. And no one even knew really what it was as a concept. Everyone was like, oh, are they going to draft this unathletic
slow guy?
Slow guy? Yeah, exactly. Is he going to be too skinny, which is very funny in hindsight now? And like now he knew it. He knew the whole thing. And you had put that into my mind. And then I saw it and I kind of saw how he played the game. And I did. I think the article says that we should have sent a dead fish to Vlade Divac. We didn't even need to do that. We just got him anyway. It was fucking great. And we're here 6 years later, as anticipated. Luka on Michael Jordan's timeline is in the NBA Finals. And I think we're going to win, man. I think we like, this is my deceleration moment, right? I think, ever seen Luka play against Drew Holiday?
Luka scores many points against Drew Holiday.
He kind of fucking cooks him. But I think the Celtics for the first two games of the series will just stick Drew Holiday on him. And like obviously they'll blitz him and they'll trap him. Realistically, though, they should put Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum on him. I think by later in the series they'll do that. And hopefully by that point, it's just too late. Like in your mind, if you're a casual NBA fan, you're thinking, oh, put Drew Holiday on. Big guard.
Sure, it'll work. Yeah.
Small NBA, all defense, right? And I think it's going to cost them the series. And I think that Luka is going to take over here. I just think we have a lot of advantages. I think we're a better fourth quarter team than them, obviously. I don't think that's really a question. I think we're
the Mavericks are nails in fourth quarters.
Yes. We're much bigger than them. We're considerably stouter basketball team. And I love what Julio, your 2 guests ago, he said that Jason Tatum is like popcorn because he pops when it gets too hot. That's right, man. I live in a family full of Celtics fans. You know, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. My whole fucking family talks like this. They'll tell you right now, they are not confident. And this is why. I think this is the worst possible matchup for them. They're against two dogs, two real motherfuckers who will, like, if you show weakness, they're just going to go for the throat. And we proved this year, this whole playoffs, if your throat is available, we are going to stomp on
it. That's pretty good, man. Could you do me a favor before you actually check out for the night? I want you to stay in the YouTube comments, and I want you to go post your tweet, if you can find it, of that fucking sandwich that you weirdos from the Northeast eat. that chop suey sandwich. Is that what it is?
Yeah, baby.
People
I'm a
just,
month
you
away
know.
from getting another one. Don't tell people. This
Oh
is
my
a
God, you're so
spoiler.
gross. Please
Dude.
just post that link and be like, and everybody, I want you to go see this because it's like, if you think anybody else in your life is a sicko, and this includes people from all over the world, because we just had a guy from Brazil, we had a guy from India. If you think anything you guys in your culture does, I promise you this might top it.
And you know what? It's good ammunition. It's from Massachusetts. You're in for a month of fucking hating things from Massachusetts. Here's step
just
one.
Reply to them with like a screenshot of what Ben is going to post and be like, this is where you're from.
Whatever this diet has done to you has made you a bad basketball team. There you go.
Ben, you're a good man and a good friend. Thanks so much for hanging out.
Let's go fucking Mavs, man. Let's do it.
Talk soon. Go Mavs. All right, everybody. If you're here, if you're in line, stay in line. We're gonna get to everybody here. Brandon, you're up late. What's going on?
Kirk, the line is long, but it's worth the wait.
And you're worth having on. Tell me what's going on. Tell me what you're thinking.
I don't know, man. I'm just glad they made it back. During that wait, I was just thinking about some of the old Mavs rosters, and to me, I still feel like the 87, 88 roster is the best, but
okay,
talent-wise, man, I mean, these guys are super athletic and super determined, so they're going to be at the top. There's not a lot of rosters to pick from, but they're definitely going to be at the top. But I mentioned, earlier that I feel like Minnesota didn't have a game plan, and he was their game plan, and all they did was dribble.
Well, did you see how many shots? Did you see how many shots Rudy got? Like, I was very confused. They just didn't really. I don't want to say they didn't know what they were doing, but it was just that Luka and like they're very clearly afraid is what's going on.
And it's like Cat was pulling just threes out of just and that was crazy. I'm like, why is this dude just pulling up shooting threes? Not even trying to.
You know why? Because he can't finish in the lane. That's why. Because Lively and Gafford are there.
I noticed PJ can't finish in the lane either. He had a couple of times, a couple of breaks, and a couple of opportunities to create his own shot in the paint. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, Ant, dude. I mean, he has nice handles, but all I see was dribble. And it got to the point to where it was like street ball. Like I said, they couldn't run any sets because he was getting pressed so much. And the time was so short, he couldn't, dribble his way up out of it. So they were forcing shots. He was forcing shots. And to me, I mean, not to compare him to anybody, like it really matters, but I feel like he's more Jimmy Butler than Jordan or anybody else because he just has that raw talent, and you can see the making of a dog in him. I'm kind of curious if he's going to take the same route as Jimmy is. If they don't get like efficient help around him. They have the big names around them, but and they have 3 good role players, but they also have 2 big contracts that aren't really proven. It's kind of what you see now in the playoffs.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely. I'm thinking that the Mavs are really going to win it. I don't know what game, but they're not going to be able to push Boston around like they did Minnesota because I mean those guys. If somebody's dribbling, what Boston has is their capacity. Somebody that can at least they have a lot of opportunities for scoring. Minnesota, they didn't have a lot. They had 3 role players and 2 guys that didn't show up, and a dude that was forced to dribble a lot. And I don't think they're going to force Boston to do the same thing. So I think they're going to have to think about the talent that they're going to be on the floor with. And like I said before, Boston, they're up 4 games on Dallas. Dallas been on 4 against Boston since, last year and this year. So they're going to have to think about some stuff, but it's a good opportunity for Luka to shed a lot of people up and
they're like, this is great, man. Like, and in terms of the Luka shutting up people narrative, we're gonna have 2 straight weeks of motherfuckers putting their foot in their mouth and saying dumb stuff about him and dumb stuff about the Mavericks. I personally can't wait because it becomes a content field day for people like me. And then Dalton Trigg, who's down there, he's working late. So I'm gonna make him come on after Mr. Green. And before my man's, you know what? I might have to bring on Simon because Simon's East Coast based and he's probably gonna stab me in the throat if he has to stay up any later. But anyways, there's plenty of people that are gonna say dumb stuff. I can't wait. Just can't wait.
God, and they're gonna make it sound like they supported Luka the old time. I'm like, man, dude, y'all were calling him fat and saying that he needs to drip past the ball and he can't do it and he can't shoot free throws and this and that and messing up the guys' names on TV. I'm like, come on now. But it's gonna be a field day just looking at the people try to, some people they just got to eat crow and they don't want to. I mean,
Nope.
It is always, to me, is always going to be what other teams can't do. It's never really going to be about what Dallas can do.
That's right.
Redemption song. That's all
I'm talking about, my man. We're gonna do this, and it's gonna be fun, and we're gonna be hanging out together.
That's right, Kirk. Appreciate you.
All right, have a good night. We'll talk soon, okay?
See you, Kirk.
All right, I just want to give a quick shout out to I don't want to mess up my man's name. He says Rajan Udeshi, hi from Sri Lanka. What a fantastic. I love the internet, friends of the program. I just love the internet. All right, coming up next then is my man, Mr. Green. Mr. Green, what do you got for us?
What about a few shout outs, Kirk?
Let's hear it.
Shout out to the internet.
Tell me more.
I'm sitting here in Perth, Western Australia, and now I'm going to talk some shit with me mate, Kirk Henderson, the ultimate Mavs madman.
Let's fucking go. We just passed 2 hours live. We're here. And I really have to pee.
How fucking stupid. Hey, you've probably seen me go for 4 piss breaks, mate. I've drunk more Coronas than Mavs have had wins this fucking series, mate. Relax.
It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. What time is it where you are?
1:30 in the afternoon.
Okay,
mate.
so you're having a great Friday. You're having a great time.
Dude, I've had the rest of the day off. Self-employed, spoke to the boss. That's fucking me. What are we doing? I'm on the piss, mate. Relax, all right? Now,
you got
let's
it.
Let's get back onto the shout-out train, all right? I want to do a few fucking shout-outs, all right? Luka Doncic, man. Luka fucking Doncic is the baddest motherfucker on the planet, man. My dad, my father, Rob Green, what a fucking legend he is, right? He only just got back from his trip to the US.
Okay.
He's a Celtics fan.
Oh.
He's a Celtics fan. He went and watched Celtics Bucks and Celtics Pistons back to back in Boston.
That's pretty fun.
Can you imagine the texts that me and Dad have been sending this morning? I have fucking told him, man, you're fucking dreaming. We are going to come in and we're going to crush you. Luka Doncic is going to break into your house, steal beer out of your fridge, and put his fucking feet on your coffee table, mate. That's what's going to happen in Boston. It's over, Kirk. We're going to wrap this up. We're going to wrap this up quickly.
I love this confidence.
There's no 7 games, champ. I've seen this guy play, man. I didn't watch NBA basketball for 12 years. I watched 1 game of Luka Doncic. I got a fucking half court in my backyard. It cost me 16 grand. I'm 47 years old, Kirk.
Pretty worth the money.
This guy, I've got a signed Luka jersey from his rookie season. But guess what I've got next to it? A fucking signed Porzingis jersey, man. Oh my God. I thought
it's okay. Look, I have no ill will about Porzingis. Takes a long drink.
I don't either, man. But I'm telling you, you keep on talking about who has the it factor. There's never been a bigger it factor, man. Did you see Luka at the end of the half? Did you see what he did with 6.7 seconds left?
What did he do? Tell me.
If that's not putting my fucking feet on your coffee table after I've stolen a beer out of your fridge in your house, I don't know what is, man. That cunt bombed it from half court.
I know.
He is a fucking psychopath.
Yes.
And he is the reason why we will be raising the Larry O'Brien at the end of the season, Kirk.
That's what I am talking about.
He is the baddest motherfucker who's ever bounced a ball, man. He's it. He is better than, well, look, man, I'm telling you, man, I'm so excited. I really am. It's Friday afternoon. Man, I've got 72 hours to recover, all right? I know the Mavs have got a week off, but, man, I'm so happy for those boys, bro. I'm so happy for Kyrie. But I'll tell you what, man, Luka, what was he? 20 points, 8 from 10?
Yes.
He took a shit on your desk and set your paperwork on fire and then said, you got an important call. That's what he did, man.
I love it.
It was ridiculous. It was Game 7, Phoenix all over again, man. It was fucking beautiful to watch.
That's right. It might have been meaner, but maybe that's recency.
Here's my next shout out, man. All right, here's my next shout out. Jason Kidd.
Sure.
Jason Kidd, man. Like, seriously, I think I read a stat. He's the only player to go to the NBA Finals as a player and a coach with the same team. That's
pretty amazing.
The only player. How long has this league been going? 78 years.
I mean, do we not count Bill Russell? I guess because he was player coach. I don't know. I like it though.
Never heard of her. No,
I like it, man.
Be disrespectful. I shouldn't be disrespectful.
That's pretty
Bill.
funny. I don't care. It's late. Nobody cares. We don't mind. My man,
Nico Harrison, man, what a legend.
That's true
What
too.
a legend. PJ Washington, like, he is the prototypical player that Dallas needed to disrupt defense. He's like a Jaden McDaniels, you know, he's got the height, but he's got the length, right? Derek Lively, man. What a fucking story. Derek Lively? Come on, man. What was he at? Never had a double-double in college? Dude. What a fucking legend. Mate, that guy is tough as nails, man. Imagine losing both your parents at that age. That's
we're gonna have to talk about that when I'm not drunk, because that's like, he's just an impressive man. Shout out to him.
And you cannot tell me we wouldn't have swept these clowns. And that's what they are. They're clowns, man. They clown themselves. You can't put Luka Doncic on the floor and then go, you know what? We're confident in Rudy Gobert being able to close out a game in the last possession. You can't do that shit, man. That's ridiculous. So
you're right.
I'm you know, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford. Look, you know, Gafford, is he a 16-game player?
Yes.
I don't know, but you know what? You know what? When you've got so much gravitas around you, man, you're able to drag these players up to a level that you need to be the champs. And imagine going through the whole roster doing a shout out when you win and you go to the NBA fucking finals, Kirk. Do you realize we're going to the NBA finals?
I do.
Imagine going through the roster and just doing a bit of a little shout out to everyone tonight. There's not one player that you can say, oh, man, we really need to, you know, pull your socks up and try a bit harder. Man, we're in the fucking finals, Kirk. And guess what? We've only got the Boston Celtics to beat, mate. They're fucking weak as piss. They've been there that many times before. As I said to my dad all the time, mate. Dad, very hard to play well when you got shit running down your legs, mate.
We got to get Dad on the show.
Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic coming into your house. Man, if you're a Boston fan and you feel like you might win, you're fucking delusional, man. We're gonna stomp you.
You're gonna have a great rest of your day. You're gonna be like, it's 1:30 in Perth. You're gonna be hungover by dinner time, and I just can't. Like, you're gonna have to send me a message, tell me how it goes. I'm really grateful for you hanging out. You got anything else?
That's my cue to get the fuck out of here, Kirk. You've been a legend, man. Thank you so much. I can't wait to talk to you after Game 4 when we're NBA champions against the Celtics, brother.
This is what I'm talking about. Thank you so much, Mr. Green. We'll talk soon.
Cheers, bro.
All right. We somehow have a full room, which terrifies me. I'm going to bring up my man Simon, who's on East Coast. Simon, what are you doing, my man?
Yeah, I am on my balcony in Arlington, having a rum and coke, smoking a cigarette. I apologize for the background noise there.
No. Could you actually do me a favor, Simon? Because you're I don't know if you know this. You have a podcaster's ability to what's it called? Filibuster for a DC based guy. Could you filibuster for me for 90 seconds? I've not used the restroom in 2 hours and 13 minutes, and I am dying. Can you filibuster for me?
Yes, I will.
All right, go, and just talk.
Yeah. Well, I was going to lead off with plaudits for you, Kirk, and your show, but I'll wait till you get back for that. I'll just start off by saying, man, the Mavericks are in the finals. It's an amazing feeling. I can't wait for this series. This game tonight was so fucking enjoyable to watch, man. Luka finally played the way we know he's capable of playing. Full Luka mode from the jump. Decisive moves to the basket. Decisive pull-ups. Knew what the fuck he wanted to do. Did it. It was reminiscent of Game 7 in Phoenix. Minnesota never had a chance. Whew! Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Yeah, that's that's my filibuster. I wish I really had more of that podcaster's ability that you speak of. I'm going to take a sip of my rum and drag out my cig, and I will wait for you to get back, Kirk, because I really want to talk to you. Mm-hmm. How about Derek Lively, 16 of 16 in the series or whatever, 100% from the field in 4 games? That's pretty amazing. All right, you're back. Good.
I think I finished tearing my meniscus running to and from the bathroom. But this is what we do here. So what are you thinking, my man?
Okay, first of all, I want to lead off with this, Kurt. Congratulations to you and Josh. I know how hard you guys have worked to build this platform. I know you guys are probably getting record engagement tonight. I mean, I was 5 minutes late getting into the studio, and I had to wait over an hour to even get in, and I didn't give a fuck.
Hey, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. The game tonight, I mean, what really can you say? I already said it about Luka. Finally played the way that I've been waiting for him to play all playoffs. Man. And then once he got going, opened up everything for everybody else, including Kyrie. I want to mention one thing, though, about this game. How about Josh Green, okay? The 2 passes. So he made the one pass, the wraparound bounce pass from half court, I think, to PJ, which is the best pass I've ever seen him make. Mm-hmm. And then he followed that up like a couple minutes later. Do you think he did that drop-off pass he did in transition? Did he do that intentionally?
Oh, yeah. I hate it. It's so good. It like when people do shit like that, where it's like that's where they're a different species of person, because I can never do anything like that. It's amazing. Where what in the hell is backing up? Where are you? Where someone is driving a forklift at 2 a.m?
No. So I'm on my balcony. I'm having a rum and coke and smoking a cigarette. I'm gonna be inside in like 30 seconds when I'm done with this cig. They're doing construction right now on the sidewalk outside. So I apologize in advance.
DC never sleeps. It's just funny.
No, it does not. Anyway, so like I said, I mean, really not too much to say about the game tonight. But I want to look ahead a little bit to the finals.
Sure.
I'm really interested to see how. First of all, Boston. I know that they've had a cakewalk to the finals, but they're a formidable team. Like let's not get it twisted. I know people love to clown Boston, and for good reason. But they're a formidable team. They're really kind of the perfect put together team for the modern NBA. They have 5 guys on the court at any time who can make a 3, and 5 guys who can switch pick and rolls and all that kind of stuff. I'm really interested to see how they are going to guard Dallas and the Luka pick and rolls. Whether they're going to blitz, whether they're going to switch, whether they're going to play drop. I mean, I think if Porzingis is the pick and roll defender, it would make sense for them to play more drop. I think what Boston will try to do is they don't want Porzingis in that situation. So I think they'll do a lot of pre-switching with, whoever.
Luka is like Luka becomes like we don't talk enough about white on white crime when he plays Porzingis. Like there's some real viciousness going on when he plays dudes like that.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm going inside right now. So
it's amazing. This is the live radio, everybody. It's the best part about it. I see my friend Anthony and my friend Bryce and my friend. I said like people that actually know IRL in real life that are looking at me on the live show, being like, "Why do you do this?" I'm like, "Because it's fun. That's why."
No, I mean, Kirk, you are indefatigable. Right? Is that how you say it? I don't know how you do it. I don't have any kids yet. So I don't know.
Oh, I'm going to pay for this. I'm going to pay for this until the Mavericks start the finals. Like, I'll feel better then. Anyway, let's hurry along. Come on. Tell me what else you got.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, just be interested to see how Boston defends Dallas. And in terms of Dallas on defense, their strategy has been, wall off the paint and at the concession of, giving up 3-pointers. But Boston's been the best 3-point shooting team in the league all year. So how do you see Dallas playing Boston defensively? I would imagine that they're going to stick with their base principles. But Boston is going to be able. They have more. I mean, they just have more playmakers and scorers than Minnesota does. They're not going to have 3, non-scorers or non-shooters out there.
Yep.
So that's going to be a challenge for them defensively. I'd be interested to see who the primary matchup for Boston is on Luka. I mean, White and Holiday are 2 very good defensive guards, but they're undersized versus Luka. I don't know if it's going to be, I would think Jaylen Brown would be more likely to see more possessions on Luka than Tatum would be. I would think they would want to put Tatum on PJ or somebody like that who's not going to stress him as much defensively. But it's going to be a hell of a matchup. I do think the Mavericks will win in 6. That's my prediction. And I'm not the first guy to say that on this show. I know you got a lot of people waiting. I waited for a while.
This is going to be like a 4-hour show, and my wife's going to be like, "Why do you do this? You make like $12 off this show." And I'm going to be like, "You know what? Because why not?" Hey, man, thanks so much for staying up. Oh, shoot, didn't mean to do that. Hey, Simon, thanks so much for staying up late. We'll talk soon. All right,
Kirk. Well, I'm glad you're going to have a week off. Before I think when's the first game is next Thursday, right?
That's right.
That's the first. Yeah. Okay. So make sure you get some rest, man. I hope both you and Luka get the rest that you need.
That's right. That's right. No one is taking beers out of my hand though. So, all right, man. Thanks so much. Be good.
All right. Later, man.
All right. I still saw some people trying to join the room. If you want to do that, again, I'm a sociopath. We're going to stay up until we're done. Dalton Trigg is next, and then Krishna, then Michael. Dalton, what's up?
Oh my God, Kirk! What a night!
Are you in your car?
I am.
What the fuck are you doing?
I'm sparing my wife.
Okay, that's
having
fair.
to, she's in bed, and the living room's not too far from the bedroom there. So
she doesn't want to hear your sultry Mavs talk at 1:45 in the morning.
She stayed up and watched the finish and the trophy ceremony and all that stuff. But when it gets into this stuff here, she's off to bed. So
yep.
Anyway, what a night! I mean, this is what we do this stuff for. This makes it all worth it. It's been a long time coming. I had just graduated from high school when the Mavs went on their last NBA Finals run, and it has been a long 13 years. We kind of got some fool's gold in 2022, thinking that the Mavs were going to get to this point then. But, they were lacking in several spots, and, the Brunson stuff was a huge hit. Had to take a gap year there. But, man, did the Mavs rebound well. And, Nico Harrison and the rest of that front office pushed all the right buttons. Jason Kidd has coached his ass off during this post.
Yes, he has.
Luka, it's funny because, Luka was hobbled in that Clippers series. He was obviously hobbled in that OKC series. I thought OKC was way more physical with Luka than the Timberwolves were in the Western Conference Finals. Lou Dort was just a wrecking ball in that series. So it seems like Luka got healthier as this Minnesota series went on, and now the guy's got a full week to rest up, and the rest of the team does before the NBA Finals start. And I don't know, man. I think this team is gonna, shock the national media because it's coming. I mean, hardly anybody's gonna pick the Mavs. I feel like, we saw it on Shaq did, and we saw it on the TNT postgame show.
Tim Legler did.
Tim, Mavs the Mavs might put a Tim Legler banner up at AAC.
We should. He a former Maverick. He deserves it. Let's put a banner up for Timmy Legs.
Yeah. Jordan in the chat. Dalton Triggs sounds like a country singer. Yeah, I mean
guys. This is actually Luke. His real name is Luke Bryan. You guys just don't know that.
Yeah,
he sung Fast Car. He won an Emmy, but this is just a secondary gig.
But yeah, look, I was talking with my guy DJ on our own post game pod, and it's just I get it. The Celtics, they won 64 games. They're incredible. They have top to bottom. They have great depth. I think this series is going to be more like the OKC series than it was the Minnesota series. But yet again, I mean, you're here, you're in the NBA Finals, and you have the best player on the court. Like, what else can you ask for? That's as good of a position as you can be in. You have good depth. You have Kyrie Irving. We saw how Kyrie Irving responded to, Anthony Edwards simply saying, okay, I'm going to take that matchup in the Western Conference Finals. What do we think Kyrie Irving is going to do with the whole city of Boston?
Well, it's funny. So we had a listener in here earlier. His name's Henry. He's a longtime fan of our show, but long time in the sense of he's a Kyrie fan. He's very straightforward about that. Love me some Henry. He said that Kyrie has been performed very poorly in Boston over the years, and that's really something to pay attention to.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see how. And look, I might be completely wrong on this. I might regret saying it later. I feel like it benefits the Mavs for Kristaps Porzingis to come back, at the start of this series.
That's insane. Are you insane? Why would you say that?
Well,
he's their look. He makes me mad fundamentally because when he was with the Mavericks, he thought he was something different than what he was. After going to the Wizards and then going back to the Celtics, he was their skeleton key. He is the guy that unlocks everything because remember when he came back from meniscus surgery, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn from three. It was like he was viciously throwing the ball at the backboard like he was playing dodgeball. He makes those shots now. It infuriates me.
Well, the reason I say that, I have a couple reasons that I say that is one, you have the rust factor. Like he has been out for a while now. Like I just don't expect him to come into the finals and, just start nailing threes and getting to his spots. And, I feel like there's some natural rust that's going to be there. Second thing is, I feel like he's not ready for the physicality that Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford are going to bring to the table. How many times did we see Daniel Gafford completely destroy KP when he was on the Mavs and the Wizards played the Mavs with KP there? he just, I don't know, man. I just feel like the combination of Lively and Gafford are going to really give KP some issues. Now, you obviously have the problem of him spacing the floor, and they'll have to scheme their defense to where, you're still guarding out on the perimeter, but you have to have it to where you're not, sucking, your center out to the 3-point line. So, there's some stuff that needs to be done there, but Jason Kidd has proven he can coach an elite defense when he has all the right pieces. So I have no doubt they will have their game plan intact. I expect them to be fully healthy, fully locked in, and I heard it earlier in the show. All the stupid shit that's going to be said over the next week.
Can't wait
about Luka. And Kyrie too, and you got the freaking Barstool owner.
You're gonna have a great time because you're so much better at me than aggregating horse shit and turning it into 300 words. I can't do it. But Stephen A. Smith might say something like, "Now Luka Doncic, he is in fact a second team All NBA player," or whatever fucking dumb thing he says, and you'll manage to turn that into a 500-word post that like with a great headline, and like I can't do it. I want to, I just can't. But you're really good at this.
Well, that'll have to be a midday thing if it happens, because what I've found out during this long playoff run is staying up until 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Every single game night. It takes me until at least noon. Or
Baby boy, you need that. You tell you and your wife need to have children, because like this is what blogging prepares you for. Just staying up late. You're good at it.
Yeah,
you're good at it. Dalton, where can we find your work?
Well, obviously DallasBasketball.com. I mean, several written things up over there. Our staff
already.
Has been
You're
hard.
a sicko.
Yeah. So go over there, and then obviously Nav Step Back Podcast, where we've been doing games. We normally do one podcast a week until it's playoff time, and then we go into super mode and do probably 3 a week. So go over there and check all that out too. But Kirk, it's been great. What a fun night. I've enjoyed the show. I wanted to say something else before I hop off here, but what are the chances that Mr. Green from Australia is somehow related to Josh Green? Because that's
a regular question. We believe he is actually Josh Green's father, and he is why Josh Green is playing better. That's a fact.
Because I could totally see that guy being Josh Green's father. That was amazing. He was a hard act to follow there.
Mm-hmm. You're the man. All right, man. Thanks so much. Talk soon. All right. So we're going to bring up my friend Krishna next. And Krishna, I kicked him from the show earlier to allow Jason Gallagher to join. So he's been waiting patiently. He's a longtime fan and a good friend of the show. Krishna, tell me your thoughts.
Kirk, how are you?
I am. So I have some really good wine, Cloudbreak.
I'm watching.
It's an unoaked Chardonnay, because I am a 50-year-old white lady that commands the HOA, and they do what I tell them to do.
Listen, I don't drink, but I understand, man. When you're at that age, you can't hold it down like you used to. So sometimes.
Oh no, I can. I'm a professional.
Oh, okay. Well, I speak. I do need to apologize. I watched one game this series. It was game 4.
No, that's okay. Look, your fandom, you're very superstitious. You're good at this.
You don't understand. I'm so superstitious. I'm stupidly superstitious only about sports for some reason. But so I was like, you know what? I will not watch this first half. And I didn't. And, I was very happy. But it's very funny because for some reason, like I watched game 7, 2022, and that was fine. So who knows? I'll start off with Ant is still good, right? Like all this hullabaloo about him, he's still really good, but you can see like the big difference.
I love that I hate him.
I do. I don't hate him. I think he's good. Like before the season, I think I talked about if Minnesota are bad, I think the Mavericks should go get Ant because I think he'll be that good. And I don't think that's necessarily going to happen, but I feel pretty well acquitted that I think he's going to be a really good player. Now, do I think the hyperbole from the media helps him? I don't think so, but it's clear, you saw the difference between him and Luka and Kai, and even Kat versus Luka and Kai, is that Luka and Kyrie, even if they don't necessarily have, quote unquote spots, they know what they want to do in an offense, especially at clutch time. And Ant just isn't there yet. I think he's still a really great player. He's got a lot to go. And look, the thing is that's positive is he has room to improve. So I wouldn't be super down on him if you're a Minnesota fan or anyone. I just think the media sucks sometimes, Kirk. The hyperbole is always way too much, and it sucks that he got put with that. But
we got to make content, and if it's disrespectful to the Mavericks, then all the better.
Look, I have nothing against him. He seemed awesome. Otherwise, I was just thinking it's crazy how long this season has been, and there's just been contributions from almost everyone on this roster at some point or another.
Good take.
I noted this down. I took notes while all of this was waiting, so I didn't take you guys way too long. THJ versus the Pelicans, him and Kai dropped 40 in that game. And then it's clear. I think his time is coming to an end on this team. Rightfully so. It's been a while. But he's clearly gives some good times, and I'm hopefully it ends happily, and that's I think at least a positive and makes room for other guys. Exum obviously been up and down this playoffs, more down than up, but easy to forget. The guy was so clutch in that second Kings game and then that Rockets game at home. And you talked about it in December, scoring 20 a game was insane with Kyrie out. Credit to him. And then DJJ has just been awesome on defense. Like he has been the perimeter, the point of attack defender this team has wanted for so long, and he's done that. Yeah, is he going to miss threes? Yeah, is he like the perfect offensive player? No, but you've talked about it for so long. When you and Josh talked about it for so long. When you have Luka, he just makes players better. Like it doesn't matter. Obviously, you have to be able to do something, and DJJ can do something. But when you're okay on offense, he makes you good, and that's enough. Especially when he's that good on defense, and he has been. He's been phenomenal all 3 series on defense. He really, really has. Credit to him. PJ, I think a lot of us compared PJ to like what the Aaron Gordon trade is, and honestly, in some ways, he's kind of fit that better. Because Aaron Gordon, we saw it in that last series. When Aaron Gordon can't hit the 3, it hurts that team a lot, especially where it was built. And so, yeah, PJ's been inconsistent with hitting the 3-point shot, but I think he's done it at points, and he's done it at very important points in not just the series, this entire playoffs, which has been phenomenal. And then who else do I have? Oh, Gafford. I get all the frustrations about Gafford, but to me, in my eyes,
he was awesome tonight, man.
He's been awesome, but also like to me, the reason you brought him in is just to raise the ceiling of your backup 5 because that's really what he plays. Yeah, exactly. And like you're saying, Ant literally came out before the series and said, "Hey, I'm not calling myself that."
He's not. That's why I like him. He's something new. And honestly, quietly, he's much more fun. MJ was not as fun. He was dominant, but not fun. Like Ant is like the guy. He's fun.
He's kind of like Shaq. Like when Shaq was really in his prime, he was annoying if you weren't a fan of Shaq. But if you're a fan of Shaq, he was just like funny.
Yep.
That's kind of what it is. What was I saying? I was saying, Gafford. Gafford is just like your backup 5, realistically. Like that's what he is. Yes, he starts on this team, but he plays backup 5 minutes, and we saw it in the series. As much as I defend Dwight Powell, I'm not good. I don't think Dwight Powell is a good player. Like I don't think he's fit for this team. Gafford, for all the stuff he doesn't do sometimes, he still does great things. He brings a floor to your backup 5 that we never even imagined, much less for a starting 5. You were gonna say, sorry.
No, I have nothing to say. Like, dude, I am just so delighted, and I'm having fun.
I am too. Sorry, I'll try to go a little bit faster. And Maxey, man, everyone underrates Maxey. I find it so funny that people like. I was in a group chat, and this guy was saying, "I don't think Maxey's that good of a defender." There was a possession where he got isolated with Ant on the right side outside the 3, and he stayed with him the entire time until Ant went into the post, and Ant missed the shot. Like he is so good, and now he's not asked to be the anchor of your post defense. He's asked to play a help side role, and he's looked so much better for that. Yes, did he look like he couldn't play basketball for like 6 months of this entire season? Yes, it did look like that, but credit to him. Yeah, credit to him. He's awesome. He's so unique. Like who else are you going to find who can play the 4 for you, rebound, shoot threes, and then play perimeter and post help defense? It's like an impossible archetype to find in this league. So credit to him. And then slight shout out to Dwight. I get it. A lot of fans get mad at him, and rightfully so. He's not a great player on the court, but clearly he's a strong veteran presence for this team, and like that's important to have. Him and Morris have been that, and it's easy to necessarily forget. And you talked about it. I forget with who. This team is pretty young, Kirk. Like Kyrie, I think, is the only guy who's played significant minutes on this team that's over 30 years old. Everyone else is either 25 or younger.
That's right.
That's pretty insane. So
that's right, man.
Shout out to those guys. D Live, he's been above my expectations more. I was really high on him, and the fact that this is his baseline, again, I'll say it again, insane. Yep. And I've got a very hot take. I have a few centers I think he's already better than.
Sure.
People wouldn't agree with me. And after the finals, if we win, I'll talk about it. I'll say who I think he's better than. But wait till then. Wait till more people get on the D Live train. Josh and Jaden finding like any role in this rotation seemed impossible. Not like just like a month ago, obviously when the playoffs started. So credit to them, credit to Kid. And man, what else? Kid and Sweeney. I don't get it, man. How do they like craft defensive? Like, what is with them and like actually making good defensive plans in the playoffs? I don't get it, but you know what? I will not complain. Credit to them. I mean, it's been like an amazing turnaround, and to do it 2 times in 3 years. Like we forget, maybe we don't forget, but maybe it's not as well known. But like in 22, they still built a pretty decent defense. It just got broken by an
Sure.
actual good center in Kevon Looney, who played his heart out.
That's right.
And you know what? Credit to them. They clearly, like when they have the personnel, like you've talked about and Josh talked about, when they have the personnel they believe in, they put out a really great plan. So credit to them. And then I own up to Kai.
I love it, Krishna. Sorry. No, you're looking at your notes before you say your thing. I love that so much. That's how much you give a shit. You're writing this stuff down. I love that. Keep going. Tell me about Kyrie.
I had to because I was like, okay, I'm going to be here for so long, and I know so many people want to talk, and I don't want to hold it up as much as I usually do. What else did I have? Kyrie, I own up to it. I wasn't like as negative, I think, as most people
Dude,
were.
I have like 2 hours of me being like, no, please, no, God, no, no. Basically being like Michael Scott from The Office. Like I'd like hours of that, and it's okay. I don't care that I'm wrong.
No,
right.
And I don't even think you were on the worst side of that spectrum. I think there were some insane takes from this offseason. Like, I think it was Simmons said, like, I would rather have Gabe Vincent than Kyrie Irving, which is like, okay, sure, I guess. Like, that is like literally just a hot take for hot take's sake. Like, I don't really understand that, but credit to him. Like, he's clearly owned it. And also, shout out to Joe Tsai for hating the Lakers so instead sending Kyrie to Dallas. Thank you for hating the Lakers.
Shout out to Joe Tsai for trying to punish Kyrie like he was a citizen of a country that's not ours by making him demand to do a certain series of things publicly. That ain't how shit works here, homie.
It's whatever. Like, you know what? I'm just happy he was petty enough and hated the Lakers enough that he said, you know what? I'll send you to Dallas. And you know what, Kyrie, out of the big 3 in Brooklyn, Kyrie is the only one who's made it not just past the first round, but to the finals. So, pretty good.
You're a good man, Krishna.
And then, oh man, SJ had this tweet. I forget it was a week ago or even longer or more recent. How much this front office and like so much of it has changed. Like, it's easy to forget. It was so white, Kirk. Like, I don't mean to be rude. It was so white.
No, that's actually a point of fact where it's like Rick Carlisle and Don Nelson, 2 older, like men in their 60s or older, white guys. Like that that's a thing.
It was a factor. Like, it's not to be rude to them. Like, obviously they've both done some good things.
It's not rude to say the obvious. It's just rude if the obvious is somehow needlessly hurtful. This is not that. This is saying 2 old white guys are not that appealing to teen African American gentlemen.
No, shocker.
Okay.
I'm shocked. But then also, like, obviously, Sent Marshall coming in and being like the business head, like, clearly she's had some role in this, and credit to her. She came in a time that was like probably the worst to come in, and she's done a phenomenal job. And then obviously Nico, Finn, and Kid, like they've all, like the thing I think about and SJ like put it into words is like they had a trust in Kyrie and they didn't necessarily have to. And Kai has clearly repaid that in so many ways, and just on the court, off the court as a leader for this team. And like, it's been awesome. Like they put trust in him and he's like paid it 1,000-fold, which is
that's right.
What you want when you do that. And it's a credit to all of them. And then a credit to Nico, man. Like we talked about in this offseason, he got that guy from Utah to help bring in decisions. He's trusted Finley. So many people. Like he's just put the right people around him. We made fun of him being like the shoe salesman, but you talked about it then, is that if he's going to be your GM, he should use his connections. And it feels like he's using those connections as, the shoe salesman. And then when he makes decisions, and even if he's wrong, he doesn't care. He just wants to make like the right decision. And it feels like he just wants to keep moving forward and making, the right team. And like, this team is so different from other teams because it's not like, oh, this team has to, play this way. It's just a good team. And it's something that I cannot believe we've waited this long for. But you know what? I'm very happy that it was this. Then the final thing, man, the big boy, the head honcho, Luka Doncic, man. What is there to say about this guy that hasn't been said? I get so giddy about it because like sometimes I just go back and I watch the 2018 draft stuff and I think about how stupid some of the talking points were from back then. And we're going to the NBA finals, man. It's freaking nuts, dude. It's freaking bonkers.
That's right, man.
Oh man. It's crazy for me, especially, I was really young when they went in 2011. I'm like the only sports fan really in my family. And these like past few years have been awesome. Nothing hard. I have a very privileged life. I always hold my hands up to that, but it's always fun. And so I just want everyone to enjoy this, man. Like try to remember this feeling no matter what happens, because this is what sports are about, enjoying.
That is correct.
And so everyone have a great night. Keep having fun and good luck.
Krishna, you're the best. Love you. Christian's so funny. He's like, I wrote everything down to be short. And he was like 20 minutes. It's my favorite. It's the best part about this. All right. We still got my friend like Anthony, Jake. We have also, I'm going to go in order. So don't you guys fucking hate me. This is the way this goes. This is democracy. Okay. And I didn't say that in the Emperor Palpatine voice. Michael, what's going on?
Well, boy, I tell you, Christian should have his own goddamn fucking program. But anyway,
it's so funny you say that because like I recruit people from these shows to join Mavs Moneyball. Tell me what you're thinking, man.
I'll tell you, man, Kirk. I tell you, I was ready to say stuff, but man, that dude was long. But anyway,
tell it again. We love hearing people's thoughts.
No. I'll tell you, this is great. Kudos to you. I think you need to get a lot of credit for the shit that you, even tonight. I mean, being on the phone with us and hearing us talk and just everything you do, the Mavs Moneyball, which I've been, reading that for years, and then having this podcast, absolutely outstanding. Just a few things that you talked about. Stephen A. That motherfucker still mispronounces, instead of saying Doncic, he kept saying Doncic. I'm like, dude. This guy is the number one fucking player. At least pronounce his last name correct, okay? I mean, my God, what a fucking idiot. And then when you talked about white on white crime, it made me think of the story you probably heard where Charles Barkley, Larry Bird was saying something to Charles Barkley. He said, I'm being disrespected because he had a white guy on him and not a black guy. So that was kind of funny. That made me think of that. But no, man, I'll tell you, I think this can be a great series. It's a really good matchup. I think Luka, if I'm not mistaken, Luka averaged a triple-double both games. So they don't have an answer, I don't think, for Luka. The whole thing is how Kyrie's going to play, and their defense has just stepped up to another level.
Yes.
I'm a little worried about the 3-point shooting, because
we should be.
They're not going to be able to leave guys open, or they're going to get run out of the gym. But man, Boston does not play well at home, and if they screw up, either game 1 or game 2, they lose, home court. And if the Mavericks can win, they can win both home court games, then that means they're up 3-1. So you got to like their chances, And then you have with Porzingis coming back, see, they're pretty solid, right? I mean, they're used to playing without him, right? With like 2 or 3, however many series they played without him. Now, when you have a guy coming back and he's going to be a little rusty, it changes the dynamic a little bit of stuff. So you have to factor that. And then, you talked about, popcorn.
That was such a funny comment. Shout out to Arshan. That was so fun. No, that was our man in Brazil. My apologies.
I mean, I don't know if that's the case, but the thing is that you look at when they played Golden State in the finals. They had them 2-1. They had them on the ropes at home to go up 3-1. And Golden State, and that was the game that Steph Curry just went off. Yeah. They tied the series 2-2, and they didn't look back. So I'm not saying it's going to be like that, but man, you just got to wonder if they can get that split. And I really think they can, because the way the Mavericks play on the road, 9 fucking victories, that has to be tops, or at least tied.
It's
if
what
not the
it
top.
does. I don't know what I don't know whether it really matters, other than the fact that it gives me an irrational level of confidence, because Luka Doncic going into Boston, it's like he's going to be wandering around spinning in a circle being like, I'm home, everyone hates, this is fantastic. I can't wait.
Well, in previous seasons, remember he had that incredible shot that he made against Boston at home, like
Yep.
about 1 or 2 years ago. So I'm not saying he owns Boston, but he's very comfortable. I mean, he's averaging 30. I mean, I think between him and Kyrie, they're averaging 60 points in both
That's right.
games. Now they lost by average of 18, but again, that team is not the team now. The team now is so much different. Think about them beating the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. Everyone knows the Western Conference was far better. I mean, monumentally better than Eastern Conference. And I'm not degrading what the Celtics did, winning 64 games, but the competition, you got to look at that. You got to look at what the Mavs did. The Mavs had to fight that fucking linebacker, in OKC, and then against a really good Minnesota team that beat the defending champion or the champions, Denver. So and then Boston had a cakewalk. Every key player was missing in their 3 playoff series. You got to look at that. So, I mean, but you're going to look at, the bias against the national media is just fucking ridiculous. I mean, every time now, there's a lot of times I tape it and then I hear somebody say some shit and then I just delete it. I didn't want to listen to what the hell, like Perks or fucking Stephen A. Smith or these other motherfuckers had. Because or even the worst is Michael Wilbon, man. That dude just fucking gets on my last nerve because it's always.
No, he hasn't watched basketball since the Eisenhower administration. He doesn't care. Like he likes Michael Jordan. That's what we know.
Oh my God! I mean, okay, and they always do the stupid ass thing. They say, "Okay,
you're right.
Did the Mavs win it or did Minnesota blow it?" And what do you think they're going to fucking say? Like they're going to say to Matt, no, they're going to say, oh, what's wrong with Minnesota? Blah, 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 blah. No one ever gives them fucking credit. I really wonder what they're going to say about this game. The fact that Luka this was reminiscent of Game 7, Phoenix. And I guarantee no one's going to say that. They're going to talk about Minnesota and Ant. And how dare them fucking say Ant is the next face of the NBA? When you got
he's
Luka,
very
and
handsome, and he smiles. He's got a great. Have you seen the movie Hustle? He looks good in Hustle. I get it. I love Ant.
Yeah,
he's just not it
you've got the fucking Luka the Don. Now he's not American. He's foreign.
No, but
born
he's
in
perfectly
Slovenia,
American.
But
like he yells at the manager. That's the most like screaming at authority is the most American thing about him.
oh my God, he is like, and then I missed the part where he basically wanted Dwight Powell off the floor.
That was so funny,
He does things
man.
very, very covertly. I mean, I guess let me tell you something. This game, I'm very superstitious. There's some things I did, which maybe if they come back and win, I'll call and tell people what I did because I didn't hear one until the last 2 minutes of the game. I didn't hear any shit that fucking Reggie Miller or those other motherfuckers were talking about. Thank God, because I swear to God, every fucking time it's like, oh, what can Minnesota do to fucking win? It's like, motherfuckers, the Mavs are at home. If the Mavs are at home or Minnesota's at home, if Minnesota's at home, they're like, oh, okay, what does Minnesota need to do to close this game out? If the Mavs are at home, what does Minnesota need to do to come back and win? I mean, it's so fucking biased for Minnesota. And it's like, and you could even see in the game that they won in Dallas, when it was 104, and PJ hit the 3, made it 107.
That's right.
It went back to Reggie Miller, and he looked like his fucking dad died. He was so fucking sad. He said that was a key point of the game and shit. So now I tell you, I have to say one thing though. I cannot stand fucking Doris Burke. Oh my God, that woman. Nothing against women. Okay, women are
trying
great.
to get me in trouble, Michael. I cannot do that. It's 1:15.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm sorry. You're in the media. I know. I don't mean to, but no. I mean when she tries to be hip or try now.
Oh, sure.
Now
That's
JJ,
all of them.
I like JJ. I like JJ, and I love Mike. The announcer. What's the guy? Mike. Oh shit! What's the guy? The
It's
gray
okay.
haired dude. Yeah, I love them, but I tell you, the Dorsberg, because I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's a slant with her against Luka. Just watch it. There's literally these little and just see. I mean, I might have to turn down the sound when I play on the road because they're going to be just gushing about fucking. Even if Jason Tatum makes a fucking basic layup, they're going to say that he's like it's a fucking all-star, for making a simple ass shot like that. And Luka does like a 30-foot
I
turnaround,
hear you.
and they're going to say, oh, he just does that. He's done that when he was 13 years old. Just bullshit
I hear
like
you.
that. So,
Michael,
all right, man.
enjoy it. It should be fun. We'll talk soon, okay?
It will. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Talk soon. All right. My man coming up next is Leo, longtime listener. Never seen his face. Leo, what's going on?
I don't have a camera. What you want me to do?
What are you talking about? You have perfect audio. I don't want to hear this shit. Where are you calling in from?
I'm from my home, but like I don't have a camera. I use a mic and I run it through an audio splitter.
Fair enough. All right. What do you got, buddy?
Just a callback. It's so nice to see that Anthony Edwards followed the hustle plot line. We had to let a Euro beat him again. I just love that. Thank you, Ant. Kermit, you the GOAT.
All right, buddy. I love you. Talk soon, okay?
Oh, not done yet. Sorry.
No. Hey, all right.
Oh, sorry. Whenever you say je ne sais quoi, are you saying vibes basically?
Yeah. Like je ne sais quoi is French for I can't describe it, more or less.
Gotcha. Just a couple requests. Can you please bring Matt Moore up for another podcast? I need to see what he says.
Matt and I are undergoing mediation. We've said some things to one another, really fucking mean things to one another, and I don't want to put him on screen. Okay.
Okay.
We respect his privacy at this time. However, I love that you said this. He actually wrote, and I'm going to post this in the chat. If you were to Google, Luka Doncic takes the mantle of the best in the world. Matt wrote that tonight. I'm going to post the link in the in the chat. Matt has bent the knee. It's a big step in the right direction, friends.
All right.
All right, man.
A giant shout out to you and Josh. Thank you for staying up this late and doing these shows for us.
Josh goes to bed. Fuck Josh. Coward.
A big shout out to the fans who hop on here night after night, losses or no losses.
That's right.
And I didn't get to hear the last show, but what was your reaction to hearing that Lowe uses this Moneyball, Mavs Moneyball as like his go-to site for Mavs news?
So I love that. I ran into Zach in 2012 or 2013 in the Wizards locker room. He saw my credential and he said, Mavs Moneyball, I love that place. Kirk, I love your blah, blah, blah. I don't believe him that he actually read anything that I said, but I got to tell you, Zach being that level of kind is one of the things that has driven me for several years. So the point being, always be kind. He's a good guy. He means well. We are going to be nice to him because he reads Mavs Moneyball. So thanks so much, man. Talk soon, okay?
Bye.
All right. Coming up next is former Mavs Moneyball contributor and current Christian's gonna have to tell me where he works now. He writes for the WNBA and he covers the WNBA team based out of Seattle. Christian, what's up, man?
My man, Kirk, how's it going, bro?
It's good. You can see how well I'm doing. I'm fighting the tide.
No, for real though. Is that your first or second bottle of Chardonnay?
1.5.
1.5. I'll take it. Round up to 2. But like, listen, man. The first thing I've been thinking about this entire playoff stretch is the fact that Jason Kidd has outcoached 3 of the best coaches in the NBA. When have you ever been able to say that about him? Ever?
I mean, I wanted to send him into space on a spacecraft that would not return.
Listen, I've wanted to fire him on a rocket into the sun numerous times. Like, just 12.0 runs, there's no timeout calls. And it's like I've lost a lot of hair over the last 2 seasons because of shit like that. But over so far this postseason, man, it's like a whole different person. This entire team, the play calling, the planning, just the strategies, like everything has changed. Everything's been fine tuned, and I say all of this still, and it feels like the national media never really gave them a chance outside of the Clipper series. Still, oh well, it's OKC. Well, we'll see what happens. It's Minnesota. Oh no, what Minnesota gonna do? They're the best team in the league. All this other shit. And it's like they never gave Dallas a fair shot. And it's like they can say they did, and it's like I've watched a lot of this shit because I work from home, and it's really just fluff. If you want to keep it a buck with
Sure.
that's really all it is. And they never really gave them a fair shot even before the postseason started. It's like that's fine. But like Derek Lively hasn't missed a field goal this entire Western Conference Finals, bro. 16 for 16.
After Chet beat the shit out of him.
After he beat the shit out of him, man. And it's like definitely gonna need him because I feel like a lot of people are thinking that Kristaps is gonna lay an egg. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not gonna be the best player on the court, but I mean he's a 7-3 freak. I mean, you act that to any type of team and there's gonna be a different dynamic, you feel me? But over this season, I feel like you've talked a lot to people about what they thought. What have been some moments this season about that have made you happy or that have stuck out to you?
The things start to blend together over a period of years. I will say that I remember elements of the first half of and this is tough for me because this is a year that my wife and I had our second baby. And you didn't see this, but there were series of shows where I had and I'll say this now, but just because it's funny, we named our second child Grant because my wife is related to Ulysses S. Grant, but I never actually said that on the show because I thought everyone would tell me that we named our child after Grant Williams. So it's like there's a lot of like early season memories of me doing stuff in like the middle of the night that I like vaguely remember. And part of why I do this, and we just eclipsed 3 hours on the live show. Part of why I continue to do this is because I was in Virginia by myself for such a long time. And I lived in Virginia for 15 years and I hate Virginia. And so I watched the Mavericks 2011 finals by myself. And so I never wanted to be alone again when I was watching the Mavericks. And so when I joined Mavs Moneyball in 2013, which was like, I spent like 2012, thank God I deleted all this stuff, really mean things about Lamar Odom because he made it very simple, but I didn't know what was going on in Lamar's life. And so this year, one of the things that I really, really remember was coming together after the PJ trade, because Gafford was kind of like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But Josh Bowe had written about PJ Washington and being like, we should make PJ happen. So that's a thing that exists in my brain. So that's probably like one of my favorite things was right after the trade deadlines. What about you?
Honestly, man, I feel like the beginning of the season, when those first couple of games, I saw those flashes from D-Live. I was like, listen,
Mavs Moneyball, you son of a bitch.
What'd you say?
Kidding. Before you quit Mavs Moneyball to go do something more fun. I'm just kidding.
Listen, man. I appreciate Mavs Moneyball. Listen, I told you before, I wouldn't be
I
where
know.
man. Come on, the wings coverage and everything, that really opened up a lot of different doors for me, But yeah, when D-Live came to the team, man, those first couple of games, I'm like, this is the post they've always needed. He can stretch the floor a little bit. He's rangy. He roams really well. Like, he's very mobile for his size. Like, they haven't had that threat in years. I mean, shit, since what, Tyson Chandler? Like, that's how long it's been since they had a consistent threat that could do the things that he does. And that's probably one of the most happiest moments for me, seeing Luka, not really having to worry about rim protection anymore. Like, the entire team flourishing on defense because they don't have to overhelp. Like, shit like that. Little things that really make a difference in how the team plays overall on both sides of the court. And, as far as naming your kid Grant, rather name him Grant after Grant Williams and name your kid Dakota after Dak Prescott.
Sure. Fair enough.
That's all from me, man. Appreciate you.
I love you, man. Be good. All right. Coming up next is my friend and former colleague and maybe future colleague one day, Anthony Irwin, who runs multiple podcasts. He just runs a very complicated podcast for what is the name of your show, Anthony? What's going on? You're muted still. It's really impressive.
No,
Brendan
I
Gagne.
was just hopping on here. Big long time Mavs fan over here. Just supporting my Dallas Mavericks and their endeavors in this upcoming final series. I don't host a show for a different that covers a different team. I am just strictly a lifelong Mavericks fan.
Yep. You're the man.
No,
What are you
wanted
thinking?
I wanted to say this before because I really do like I greatly respect that like on a night like tonight you're just gonna get out of your way or get out of everybody else's way and just let Mavericks fans be Mavericks fans to enjoy this moment because that's what
right.
this is all about. This is what we do this for, right?
That's right.
That's what SB Nation forgot somewhere along the way was that like we should allow fans to have their voice.
Look, no. It's very important that Andre Iguodala have his own podcast and the rest of us get canned. It's very important.
No, it's totally true that his show that gets about as much traffic as mine does should totally, anyway. But I do want to say though that the reason I wanted to come up here and speak is that I think one of the legitimate kind of market inefficiencies here moving forward is the commitment to the timeline. When you have a superstar like Luka, when you have a superstar like Jokic or Giannis or whoever, the being willing to push all those chips into the table to go out and get PJ Washington, to go out and get Daniel Gafford, that like I'm really happy that gets rewarded here for the Mavericks. Like the whole two timeline thing in Golden State, the cowardice that the way that the Lakers have operated with LeBron, I think the concept of sustainability has really kind of put many of the dweebs in charge of a lot of these teams in a chokehold. And I'm happy that the Mavericks were just like, no, screw that. We have the best player in the world or one of the best players in the world.
That's
right.
right.
We're going to go out there and we're going to give them a viable chance at winning. That required, buying low on Kyrie and then doubling down on that gamble for Gafford and for PJ Washington. And then getting lucky with the fact that the team that they played in the first round would have helped make that gamble possible. I think it's all really, really cool that this is coming to fruition in that way. And I hope it convinces more of these teams in a league that like is more directed towards parity and where it's leveling everything out. Hey, those margins really matter. And if you're willing to go all in and give yourself a real chance and stay healthy, who knows what could happen. And
that's
and
exactly right.
I'm taking the Mavericks against the Celtics. Not like Lakers hate aside. Yep. I think that the Mavericks could have the two best players in the series. Most importantly, the best player in the series. And, that's a great place to start.
It's a really good place to start. Anthony, you're my man. Thanks for staying up late.
Hey, enjoy that House of the Dragon wine. It's really legitimately good.
Is it good?
Yeah, I was shocked by it.
I like to hear that.
Yeah.
And
bye, everybody.
I am sauced. All right, we'll talk soon. All right, be good. Anthony is a very old friend from old Blogger Town. All right, coming up next, I'm going to let him skip the line only because he's got work to do. Is friend of the show, former, and in fact, one of my dearest Mavs friends. He helped build Mavs Moneyball into what it is, and then he went to take a much better job. Tim Cato.
Zach really does read us for the record.
He does.
And I still say us.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
The Athletic sucks. Mavs Moneyball for life.
No. He's always been a fan.
Man, what you doing, buddy? You look good.
I'm in the hotel room, tired.
Oh, you're in Minnesota. Luka made you go to Minnesota. Fuck that guy.
I'm at shit. I'm only at 400 words.
That's
Thought
fine.
I was further along.
Well, here's the thing. These Dallas Mavericks.
They're good words, though.
Yes. Well, and you and Josh Bowe are my two favorite Dallas Mavericks writers, which is why it's delightful that I know you both. This team is so certain things, and I wrote about this. Maybe you didn't read my piece. Hopefully you didn't, because who comes to Mavs Moneyball? But I don't exhibit belief very often. And this team is a justification of faith. They're really special. And I'm really, part of why I keep, and you've listened to the comments, you've been here for an hour. The commentariat won't be able to make sense of the team because they've only been together since mid-February, but it is that important.
Here's a long winding answer to say the one thing that I want to say.
Ooh.
This is going to be my first NBA Finals.
Ooh.
I've never covered the NBA Finals before. I would have. And I would have in the year 2018, I believe. I was at SB Nation. I was national. I was the national SB Nation writer. And I was covering the Houston Rockets. We didn't have enough budget to fly me out places, but I would drive down to Houston Rocket games.
Right.
And so I was at the game 7, where they missed 27 straight threes. I wrote about that team a lot. I wrote about how they were so based in analytics and math, but they also had they had to have a faith and a belief that this math would work. Yep. I have a really cool article. I still, it's late. I can't think of a better way to say this. An article I still fuck with.
Yes.
It's about like Patrick Beverley invites me to chapel. And then Ryan Anderson, who was not in the room, walked in from a different, totally different room. Pat Bev had already left the room. He also invites me to chapel. So there was a belief baked into this analytics, but there wasn't enough of it. Clearly, that team lost. The math didn't work. I think this team's going to win. I've seen enough. I've been seeing enough. I can't see it any other way. I understand how, on paper, the math should win. Yep. And I think that Boston has so many math advantages. They have so many qualitative advantages, reasons to believe that it's not going to work. But to your point, to the piece you wrote, to the moment your wife walked in that room, I do believe this team is going to win. I can actually, at a later point, maybe you bring me on the podcast if you have time, vice versa, I could talk about how there are some math reasons why I believe Dallas should win. I'll dive more into them. Maybe they'll make me feel better or worse.
I didn't want to do too much Celtics stuff tonight,
Yeah, exactly. We'll worry about that at a later point. But I do believe that I've seen enough from this team, and more specifically, I've seen enough from Luka Doncic, the best player in the series. So often, that's what the NBA is about, and I just think it's going to happen, man.
Love it, buddy. So Tim has written for The Athletic for several years, but one of the really cool parts about what Tim gets to do now is when he posts his article, it comes from the New York Times. I'm sorry. It's not funny. It's fucking cool. I used to I had a political science professor who made me read the New York Times every day and then would quiz us on it. So the Times is ingratiated in my brain. Tim, you be good. Thanks for staying up late. We'll talk soon, okay?
It's the job to stay up late. I'm going to go finish my article. It should be good. Check it out. But yeah, man, of course. Happy to. Let's talk this week.
That's right, we will. All right, Tim Cato, The Athletic, and the New York Times. I love shit like that. All right, coming up next, my friend Bryce. Bryce, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Kind of running low, but I should probably stop.
Oh my gosh, it is insane the run that DFW Sports is on. I mean, not only Mavs, which go Mavs, up the Mavs, and soon we will have alternating finals games at the AAC of the Mavs and the freaking Stars, while the Texas Rangers are reigning World Series champs. I, as someone who is got about as deep of roots in Dallas as anyone has ever had, I'm literally 7th generation Dallas. There are streets downtown named after my ancestors. Shout out Peak Street to the old Peaks. But It is such a good time to be a Dallas sports fan, and like if you ignore the Cowboys existing, which I try and do as much as I can. If you just pretend that the Cowboys don't exist and that the Dallas Chiefs, who are owned by a Dallas billionaire, and quarterbacked by
Right, because you're a tech guy and I'm a Chiefs fan. So
who is
we're
quarterbacked by
smugly
my
allowed.
literal
That's right.
biological son, Patrick Mahomes.
We're smugly allowed to claim
I
both.
birthed him from, and there is some Dallas ties there. East Texas, it's close enough. It counts. All right, we just ignore the
fair.
Cowboys existing, and like, it's just such a great time to be like a Dallas sports fan, and like it's this run by the Mavs is just it's so incredible. Like, I mean, I remember watching Luka as literally a teenager.
Yes.
Watching him interact with Dirk, like that whole thing. Like, shout out Mavs Moneyball. Credential me that whole that Luka rookie run, watching him go do his thing, and like knowing literally from the second he stepped onto an NBA court that like this guy was going to be special. This guy was going to be an all-time great. This guy, it didn't matter what the pundit said. It didn't matter what literally anybody said. This guy was special from day freaking one. And like, not only did Luka know that, not only did like the Mavs know that, but like Dirk knew that. Like literally from day one, he's like, this guy's going to be better than me. Like
anybody that's spent time with him knew it.
It's so crazy. Like, I remember like watching like Luka and his first, like Dirk was like, this guy's better than me. I'm like, that's nuts. Dirk, you can't say that. And like the fact that it's true, he's 25.
And he's going to the Hall of Fame. And he's like, you know what? I'm in year 21, but this guy.
It's just nuts. The run this guy is on. The hype that this man had. Kirk, you and I both knew, like from draft day, the fact that he landed the match, we're both like, this is a gift from the heavens. This is incredible. The fact that the Mavs have this man, they literally they went from Dirk to Luka with a year of overlap, no time off. There was literally a year over. It was just magical. And we get to watch this run. And like, if you had told me, if you told either of us, like back in Luka's rookie year, like, oh, Luka's going to go on a finals run his age 25 season, we'd be like, yeah, probably.
I mean, I kind of predicted. I wrote, there's writing to this effect, which is why I never try to say anything that anybody can use against me. I had hoped by his like age 27 season that he would be an all NBA player. He did it in year 2.
He's been first team All NBA, like basically
there's like
every year.
So Bryce, I don't know if you know this. There are something like 18 players in NBA history who have more All NBA first team selections than him. 18
in history. He's 25, right?
Right.
Who are some of those players? It's
like
Michael
LeBron,
Jordan.
it's like Bill Russell. Like it's truly like it's just names upon names.
Some bums who are not nearly as good.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy the stuff that he does, and like, it's not just like what he's done; it's the way he's done it, and the way he like. The last game 4, was unfun, clearly. But like heading into this game, I think all the Mavs fans and all the like Luka fans, everyone who like watched the game knew like, oh, Luka can go for about like 1,000 points. He's gonna like be on a mission. He's gonna just like make it his mission to just annihilate this team. And like the Wolves are a great team, like literally a phenomenal defense. Statistically, like one of the best defensives that we've ever seen.
That's right.
Rudy Gobert, one of the best defenders we've ever seen in the sport. And I tweeted this out. Because Tim Calishaw of the Dallas Morning News was like, hey, like, oh, like, why are we thinking like Rudy Gobert is such a great defender? I'm like, he is, but like, you could have an amalgamation of the 5 greatest defenders in the history of the freaking sport to like specifically defend Luka Doncic, and like, it wouldn't make a difference. It doesn't matter who it is. Luka is just like, I'm that dude. I'm going to score. I'm going to win this freaking game, and I'm not only going to win it, I'm going to embarrass you and put you in the grave and fill that grave with concrete for the rest of time. Like, it is no question that I am going to end you forever.
I love
and
it.
It's so fun. We literally had a year of overlap. We went from Dirk to Luka with a year of overlap. There was no gap.
None.
We're
I'm
so
like
blessed.
super spoiled. It's gross. I for one embrace my privilege. It's really
No,
it's
that's all
great.
you got to acknowledge your privilege, embrace it,
That's
and
right.
enjoy it, and be like, this is what it is. Oh, the Rangers won their first ever World Series, which I never thought would happen. The
Mhm.
Mavs are going to win another World Series or NBA Finals.
That's
Sorry,
right.
my baseball brain has taken over
That's
forever.
okay.
And like, if I tweeted this out, if the Mavs and Stars win championships while the Texas Rangers are reigning World Series championship, I will become the most unbearable person in the history of the earth. And I feel sorry for everyone else that has ever existed on the internet. And it's all right. It's fine. It's gonna be fun for all of us. Like, no matter what happens, like, Luka's gonna be in the finals, and like, no matter what happens, the Celtics are great. It's gonna be a fun series, and like, I think at the worst, we're gonna see a Luka like last or 2 years ago Western Conference Finals performance. We're like, oh, Luka's put it up like a 40-point triple doubles, and like they just don't have enough, and like, who cares? He's gonna be amazing.
That's right.
It's gonna be so fun. I'm so excited.
Thanks so much for waiting forever to talk, Bryce. Appreciate you. Okay.
Appreciate you.
All right. Talk soon. All right. Krishna in the chat noted that I am off only by 27 players other than Luka in NBA history have 5 or more NBA all first team selections. All right. So thanks so much to Krishna for that. Coming up next is Jake. Jake has been waiting an hour and 15 minutes. Jake, what's going on, man?
Hello. So, Australian Celtics fan. I come in peace.
Okay. Well, you look fantastic. Like the hat and the whole
Thank
setup, everything's good. So I
Yeah.
believe you come in peace. What's going on?
Once the Mavs went up 3-0, I was looking for my Mavs content, like who's going to be where I get the inside scoop, where I get the scouting report. So I've been listening to you guys for the past couple of days, and
Well, that's a shame. We're a bunch of drunk morons.
well, that aligns perfectly with me as another drunk moron. I was like, do I also try and get drunk in however long I'm in this backstage room for to try and catch up to you? But
No, but your countryman, Mr.
Yes.
Green of Perth, was
I miss
at 1:30 in the afternoon.
Hell yeah, as he should be. You know, not every day your team makes the NBA
That's
finals.
right.
And-
That's
yeah.
exactly right, Jake.
And the Mavs were like, as with a couple of Aussies, like I love that Dante Exum's like had a good year, like that. It's kind of been like my West team throughout the year,
Sure.
just because they have the Aussies. But
Right.
yeah, I just wanted to hop on, have a quick chat. It has been funny listening to like all the tropes of like you guys have dealt with throughout the season. And I feel like there's a lot that we actually share in common. Like you guys all hate the media, and you've been like, I'm excited to see what the media says, and like, it's going to be bullshit. Whereas like we feel the exact same way, and it feels like the media has been shitting on the
Well,
Celtics.
the Celtics have won a whopping 14 games more than the Mavericks. Like 64 wins.
It's a lot of wins.
That's a lot of wins.
It's so many, and then 12-2 in the
Yes.
Eastern Conference, which is also it's like 76-20, which is why anytime they lose, it's like a fucking DEFCON 1. It's like, so we're not allowed to lose.
That's right.
It feels like, but yeah. So I just wanted to come on a couple Celtics tropes that you might be hanging on to, people in the audience. So like Celtics suck in the clutch. They don't suck in the clutch anymore. They were 4th in the NBA in clutch this year. Mavs were 3rd. Joe Mazzulla sucks. He's actually pretty good now. After he actually had a year to learn how to coach without being thrown into head coaching 2 weeks before the season.
He said far less. Like, so as an NBA fan, like
He's
this
psycho.
period. No, but like in his
I love
first
him.
year, he gave weird quotes. Like he said things out loud where clearly whoever was part of like the public relations team after was like, Joe, you don't have to say that just because the future king and queen of Britain are here, you don't have to only acknowledge Christ as your savior.
And the
Like,
Mother Mary.
so funny. and because like they're
He's the best.
he's a young man. He's younger than me.
Yeah.
And it's just he's just not a bad guy. He's just an odd guy, and like I kind of love him because there's nothing funnier than weird. It's great.
Oh, he's been pretty close to as weird, but like the Celtics have won so much, everyone was like, I don't know. I guess it's fine. He likes to be choked out in his off days doing jiu-jitsu, and we're just gonna have to kind of live with it. But yeah, I like you guys have been really good on the road, and like Celtics fans kind of have a saying like, can we like steal one at home? It's like we've just been bad at home in the playoffs, but we've
the
also
Mavericks
been amazing.
lost every game 4.
Perfect. Love to hear it.
Right there.
So it sounds like it'll be 2-2 coming back to Boston. It will be my guess. So like hopefully we can steal one at home. I heard someone saying like we're gonna put Drew Holiday on Luka. I do expect it to be Jalen.
I do too.
I do expect it to be Jalen. I think he's like the best Luka defender. There's not really a Luka defender though that I think exists in the world. Like my strategy after listening to your podcast, which is what Celtics kind of is how they play defense. They're going to funnel Luka into the 2-point range. Cutting off the lobs will be number one. Yep. And then I think the Celtics have played really well against Kyrie, and that's going to be the matchup that
really well for years. Like there's years of Kyrie data that makes you go, ew.
Yeah. And then I think the biggest difference, and then I can get out of here. I wish I would have picked the Mavs. I let the media fucking trick me into picking the Wolves, but I was like, I think everybody's underrating this Mavs defense and this Mavs team. Like, the Nuggets had no rim protection. This Mavs defense is kind of designed a lot better to handle the Wolves. So I was like really, I haven't been underrating the Mavs at all. And Jason Kidd is a defensive coach, like going back to the conference finals 2 years ago, like the personnel doesn't quite match like how good they are defensively, in my opinion. And so like he's clearly a really good defensive coach. But I will say, watching the Wolves series is that like the Wolves have a lot of non-threats. And so I don't know if Rudy Gobert might be one of the worst offensive players that plays like 30 plus minutes in the playoffs. And I would just say right now, we'll see what happens with KP. I would respect Al Horford. He's a really good player. For Mavs fans in general that are thinking like Al Horford, he's 38, whatever.
I mean, he's like his challenge has nothing to do with his ability and much more to do with his age, because he's such a good pick and pop player. He's actually a really good defender in space. The only thing that you would worry about with him is like if you're playing him like 33 minutes a game, then something has gone awry. Not because he's bad. It's like he's old and you don't want him to play that much. Like you want him to be like the guy that does like certain things in spurts because he's real strong and he's real smart, but he's still old.
Yes, you're very old. If LeBron wasn't as good as he is at his age, I think Al Horford being as good as he is at his age would actually be a bigger story because he fucking has been awesome in the playoffs again. And he was supposed to be the backup, and he was the backup. Now I'm hoping Kristaps Porzingis can be the backup and play 15 20 minutes. But yeah, and then on the defense piece, there's not really anywhere to hide. And I'm not saying, and like Kyrie's been good. Kyrie and Luka really impressed me defensively throughout the playoffs. But I will say, watching the Wolves series, it's like the Celtics just have there are so many off-ball sets, so many off-ball screens between Derek White and Drew Holiday. They can make Luka and specifically Luka and Kyrie work really hard on the defensive end in a way that I don't think that the Mavs have really had to deal with because they don't. There's no Josh Giddey, there's no Rudy Gobert. There's you know what I mean.
Like, you have to guard all 5 positions, and if you're gambling on someone, the gamble is a pretty poor bet because all 5 guys are going to be able to do something most possessions.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a new challenge. That's where I think that the Celtics may have an advantage. I'm not confident or not confident anymore after the last 2 Celtics playoff runs. I just pray that it works out for us because I came in confident the last 2 years. I will say this team is different, but I respect the Mavs a hell of a lot, and so
should be fun.
Yeah, man, I'm terrified. Please let us just have one. We've been so close for so long.
No,
you know,
we'll not.
I think that's fair. Thank you. I appreciate that, and see you guys soon.
Jake, be good. Thanks for joining. Good commentary. Jake is the only Celtics fan we're going to allow to join. Just kidding. Anybody that's that polite and also friendly is allowed up here, because the real thing about all this is that none of us can do anything. So being rude assholes to one another only gets you so far. Coming up next, also from India, Ishan. Ishan, what's up, man? Long time no talk.
Yeah, I was a regular on the Spotify live days. My work has just become a lot more hectic over the last year, so I've not been even. Right now, I'm in the middle of my workday, Kirk. It's like 12:30 in the afternoon.
Thank you for joining
But
in the middle of your day.
no, of course. What a fucking moment! Like it felt surreal to me. It felt like we've been in a weird. Like, of course, we're more spoiled than most fan bases are. Of course, the Dirk Luka overlap has been mentioned, and obviously we had someone like Luka to root for the last half a decade. But it was kind of a torturous cycle, Mavs fans were put in over the last 2 years, especially with, how the goalposts kept shifting. And somehow this team just found the resolve to, keep it about basketball. And we're in the finals. This West throughout the year was hailed as one of the toughest Western conferences ever. And nobody thought Dallas would be in the finals. Outside of Tim Legler, nobody even was really advocating for Western Conference finals for us in terms of the mainstream. Of course, as Mavs fans, we had a different resolve. We've been talking about a parade for the last month. So, but otherwise, it's not like we've been that backed. So it's wonderful to see us achieve. It feels like a very us against everyone else, which is going to shift in the finals, because I think Boston, the Mavs versus Boston, I don't see Boston having a lot of casuals on their side. It's fun to hate Boston. Sorry to the Boston fan that was just here, but it's fun to hate on Boston. And I'm really looking forward to what happens in the finals. And of course, so many people have said it, but I also do genuinely believe that we can beat the Celtics. They're so amazing, but I think we are built in a way that can just bother them enough. And cold shooting is genuinely a killer for them. And we've proven through this series that, we have the weapons to, even one of the coldest shooting nights of this era of Mavs playoff basketball, we can grind it out. And I feel like that versatility is giving me a lot of undue confidence. But, Mavs in 6, I'm so excited to see.
It's not undue. This is fun. Why would you not like we had 2 different articles turned in today at Mavs Moneyball, which just doesn't happen this way because we communicate normally. But we had 2 different articles of guys basically being like, if you don't believe, what are you doing? And like that's what this is about, man. And you believe and I believe, and that matters a great deal.
There were Mavs fans when we lost Game 4 legitimately scared that we were going to blow a 3-0 lead. Like, firstly, that's unprecedented. Like, that's beyond unprecedented. And if you believe in what Luka Doncic is, if you believe in what Kyrie Irving is, why the hell would you even delude yourself with that thought? That made me furious, honestly. I was like, you guys can't be this, like, that's actual front running. You lose 1 game and you think you're going to lose 3 more. Why? Like, what did the Wolves show you that made you feel like they can beat us 3 more times consecutively after that game? But that's besides the point. They're in the past. I just want the last thing I want to hit on is I think the Mavs might have set a sort of model for team building that a lot of asset distressed teams are going to start relying on. I think when we came into the season, obviously all the conversation was that, the Mavs in terms of how they've spent the assets, be the Porzingis trade still keeping a pick away from us. Then obviously the Kyrie trade, we had no actual value tradable players like less than 12 months ago, where we were actually thinking of trading Hardy, Green. We thought Tim was a negative asset. So from that situation where you have picks locked up, your players aren't that great, just getting that number 10 pick and what Nico did with it, I think it does set a model now, because we did not wait to try and go all in on another player, that 3-star model. We spent considerable chunk of assets on just getting role players. Of course, Grant we had to move on from, but we spent a pick for Grant. We spent a pick for PJ and like a juicy, unprotected pick in that non-Luka window that people have been telling us about. That it's after his contract, so why the Mavs trading assets after that contract if he leaves? So I think that this is quite model bending. Aaron Gordon success in Denver, again, it was a very similar price to what we got for PJ. And now I think if there's an undervalued forward around the NBA, teams might just be like, oh, this player might be more valuable than we're giving them credit for. And I think that's going to create some shift in the market very soon. Because we knew that these players were undervalued role players on shit teams. And now I'm getting worried that like a lot of teams are going to try and adopt this, whether it works for them, whether it works for them. Again, someone
It's
said
tough
that.
though, man, because with the play-in, you got 10 teams in each conference. Unless you're so horrid in the Eastern Conference that you stop caring, you're not going to find that many teams. Like this really is. I think hindsight will look at what the Mavericks did with the Hornets and with the Wizards and just say, man, like the Mavericks made the right offer at the right time in a very soft trade market. And it's better to be lucky than good.
I think they were well thought out moves. I don't think it was luck. Because again, within the Mavs, last summer, there was so many Mavs fans just thirsting for PJ. If you go look at any of PJ's tweets from last year, anytime 2023.
Josh wrote an article on the third day of free agency.
Yeah.
Like, somebody offered this guy. And then everyone and their uncle was like, oh. And it like just sort of continued until he became a Maverick. It's amazing.
I remember Mavs fans were upset when we offered the MLE to Matisse and not to PJ because it was something that felt like could have been worked out. Whether Charlotte matches or not, different issue.
Right.
But of course, like that was the hope. Like we would get PJ then. We saw it. Gafford. I have tweets from 2021 about getting Daniel Gafford onto this team. Like these were two again people in tune. Seemed like obvious moves.
Oh, I teased.
It's
Dalton
just
Crick.
that you have to.
Like he wrote the
Yeah.
same 3 articles every trade deadline for 3 years.
So that's what. Like I'm saying that teams are getting a little too cute with how they try to manage their assets and how they're trying to protect players from like maybe we trade this player a little too early. Grant Williams was young and on a very long contract that could have easily been a bounce back, especially with his hot shooting streaks. People were telling us that we lost the trade because he went to the Hornets and just started like hitting every 3 again, just like he did for us for the first 2 weeks of the season. So I think it should like at least present to people that sometimes basketball can be way simpler than we make it seem.
You're right. You're right, man.
Okay, thanks for having me on, Kirk.
Sean, you're
love
the best.
speaking with you. Take care. Have a good night.
Have a good day for you as well. All right, coming up next, Mavs Moneyball contributor who does all sorts of things. Mavs beyond the Mavs. He also writes about the Dallas Wings. Isaac, what's going on, dude?
What's going on? How you doing?
We just eclipsed 3 hours and 30 minutes, so I feel gross, but we're gonna keep pushing.
Well, it's ironic that you brought me up because you just talked about people that were scared that we were going to blow a 3-0 lead. So I'll get that out of the way and say that I was one of those people. There was a caveat to it, but I watched how we played without without Derek Lively, and I was concerned, not worried, but I was concerned that if Lively didn't come back, that we could be the first. Not that we would, but that we could be the first. And people were not happy that I said that.
I mean, it's understandable, dude. It really is because I love this Mavs team, but we've also seen them like take a punch and knock it up.
Right.
And that's just what happens in sports some days.
Like I love the Mavericks to death, but I watched the Timberwolves shoot 53% in game 4 and I'm like, okay, our defense isn't as good without him. But I was also looking at cards that I bought. I buy basketball cards, and I bought a couple of packs last year. guy that saved our season, and then Derek Lively rookie card. So
I love
those-
that.
hopefully it'll be worth something someday. They're not numbered, but they might be worth
That's
something someday.
amazing. I love that.
I've got stacks of like hundreds of them that I just keep.
Why not? No,
Exactly.
basketball cards are great. What are you gonna like? Why not? If you have the space, who cares? Have fun.
Yeah, I've got a whole box up there, like thousands of them. Just collecting dust. Who knows what they're going to be worth someday?
So, what are you thinking, buddy? What else you got for us?
I'm happy we're in the finals. I still can't believe it. I was 9 the last time we made the finals, and I remember watching those games at my elementary school summer camp, like going to the camp the next day. And we had this insane idea. I'll never forget it. We had this insane idea that we were going to take a field trip to the championship parade when they won it. Like,
why not?
The school was going to, they wanted to take us to like the middle of it, like a bunch
Sure.
of 9-year-old kids to the middle of this melee, because they didn't think that it was going to be that big a deal. And then they saw on the news that there was like 250,000 people expected to be there. And they were like, okay, let's change it up. And we ended up going to some local sports bar at like 10 o'clock in the morning. So there's a bunch of 9 and 10-year-olds playing pool in a dead sports bar at 11 in the morning. I'll never forget it. It's one of my favorite Mavericks memories. Because almost none of the kids were Mavs fans. I was one of the only kids that was watching basketball at the time. So they were like, we're going on a field trip. And I'm like, you're damn right we're going on a field trip. The Mavericks just won the NBA Finals. Like, celebrate with me, damn it. Like,
I love that. That's so weird. How perfect.
perfect way to celebrate the first championship I've watched. And hopefully the first of at least 2 after the next 3 weeks get done.
Man, you're the man. You're the man, Isaac. Isaac has written a number of I think this is good framing. At Mavs Moneyball, we also cover the wings. And so he is along with 1.5 other folks that regularly watch and cover the wings. So go scroll through Mavs Moneyball. It's just below the fold. It was up all day today. It was a great story. And we will also beat him into writing about the Mavericks too, but he's covering things for all angles for us. Isaac, thank you so much for hanging out and staying up late. Okay.
Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Isaac has been a wonderful addition to the Mavs Moneyball staff. My favorite part about this time of the year is people who like respond to us for the first time. Like, hey, do you have any writing entries? And it's like, well, yeah, we actually do have space. I'm just not bringing you on during the finals. So, all right, coming up next is my man, Grayson. Grayson, what's going on, dude?
Hey, Kirk, is it fighting me? Can you hear me? What's up?
Yeah, it's been a long time. Welcome back. What's going on?
Thanks. Yeah, I haven't called in forever, but I can't sleep. So I drove to Whataburger, listened the whole way there, and you were still going. So I was like, you know what? I'll pop in and say something. I'll make it quick. I just want to say shout out to you, shout out to the Mavs Moneyball staff. Y'all deserve this. Y'all work your asses off, and like I just want to say it does not go unnoticed. And like the coverage has been so good. There's so many people that I've that just have educated me so much and that cover this team so well. And the Mavs Moneyball people, but also you brought on Jason earlier and Tim and like Nick and Slightly, like all these guys. You guys just deserve this so much. Like you guys genuinely.
I don't think
inspire me.
Slightly Biased and I could exist on the same show. Just like too much intensity. Like the screen might blow up. But yeah, man, I'm really glad you like it. That's what we do it for.
Yeah, I just want to give you all a shout out. Obviously, the Mavs are great right now. We're loving it. Dallas sports are awesome. So yeah, I just want to give you some love, and I'll sign off super quick. Just want to borrow a phrase from my favorite show. Fuck Boston.
Good point, man. Grayson, talk soon.
See you, Kirk.
All right, coming up next, we have MVP Luka 77. What's up, man?
Hey, yo, thanks for having me on, y'all. It's 2 a.m. I'm replaying the game right now. Got the first quarter on.
Dude, you're going to be up all night then, because the game is just going to inject you with you're just going to be, Luka's going to hit bullshit, amazing threes, and you're going to be like, all right, I'm up until the sun rises.
You know what? It could very possibly happen, and maybe you're still live at that point. I don't know. Maybe not. My man, but I just want to share something. So I've lived in Dallas for 3 years. I got a season ticket package when I first got here because I know that Luka's either entering his prime or in his prime.
That's right.
And So it's been wild. I was not a Mavericks fan before I got here, but I love NBA basketball. First preseason game I went to, somebody scored a bucket, and I was like, well, shit. I mean, if we're going to be at games, we're cheering for the home team. So let's go Mavs. Me and my son went and got clearance stuff off the rack at halftime. But at the start of the season, my daughter was only 6. My son is 4. I sat them down mostly just to have a captive audience. And I tried to explain to them that Luka Doncic might be the best basketball player on planet Earth. So I tried to break it down to 6-year-old level and was like, guys, out of all the humans on planet Earth, 2 months into that season, I told them I was wrong, that he's not there yet. Last year, I had the same discussion. Now this year again, so just to see the maturation of Luka Doncic to now, we've seen it and we know it, but to see that he is the best player on planet Earth, and we've known it, and now the world is seeing it. Whether they give him his respect in the finals, like they should, leading up to it over the next week. But it's just amazing to see Luka Doncic play basketball. I can't believe he's on the Dallas Mavericks. They are in the NBA Finals. It's just a special time to be in Dallas, to be a Mavericks fan, and it's thrilling to watch Luka play basketball. To have him teamed up with Kyrie, it's just ridiculous. And from last year to this year, I said a lot of crazy things about Jason Kidd, about Nico Harrison. I was wrong. I've apologized over the last month, and I don't know, man. What a time to be alive is all I got for you.
That's right, brother. Thanks for hanging out late, man. Enjoy the rewatch. It's going to be better than the real game. All right.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good night.
All right, you too. All right. Before we bring Vikrant up here as our last guest, I want to shout out the folks who've given us additional tips. We have my man, Tim, who says, my theory on the media coverage of Luka MVP case is that they know how good he is, but don't want to build his greatest of all time resume this early until he forces them to as champion. NBA boogeyman has arrived. Volta Del Mar says, Cook, you guys work hard and deserve a cover of the finals team. Kirk, Josh, Dalton, Nick Angstad, all of you guys. Thank you so much for that. Paul Armstrong says, take that with you. Let's go home. Let's fucking go. My friend Dominic Rangula says, get some sleep. Congrats, Dallas, but the job is not finished. All right, last but not least, he's the last person who's waiting to join our show. He's hopped in and out. Vikrant, what's going on? Hit that unmute button. That's how I can tell you're not quite there yet.
Hello, hello.
Hello, welcome to the show.
Oh, I am buzzing right now.
Hit that unmute button. That's
Yeah.
how I can tell you're not quite there yet.
I'm not sure. Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, hello.
Hello, welcome to the show.
Oh, I am buzzing right now.
We're getting some great audio feedback. This is great. Quite there yet.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
this.
Can you hear me
now? Hello, hello.
This is the perfect way to end the show.
Oops, not sure what's up, but we are like it's about a little bit past noon where I'm at right now, and oof, life is good.
Tell me what you liked about this game. Tell me what you're thinking about the next series.
Life is good. Jeez, I'm not sure what's up with my mic, but just wanted to drop by, say hi. This is wild to me right now.
What else are you thinking about the series so far then? Man, this is funny. This is the only time we've had actual lag in the show. Vikrant looks so good though. He's got like the great hair. He's got everything going on, the good glasses and everything. We'll figure it out. Usually, and Krishna said,
I think my audio's been all kinds of janky today, but yeah.
it's okay. Glasses and everything. We'll figure it out. Usually, and Krishna said,
I think my audio's been all kinds of janky.
this is great. This is 4 hours into the show. We're having a great time. I'm going to say this last and then let Vikrant send us out. Vikrant, tell me any of your thoughts about the Mavericks series or playoff run to date, and then the Celtics series.
Yeah, life is
I'm going
good.
to say this last and then let Vikrant send us out. Vikrant, tell me any of your thoughts about the Mavericks series or playoff run to date, and then the Celtics series.
Yeah, life is
I'm going to
good.
say this last and then let Vikrant send us out. Vikrant,
So I think I got the question. I'm not fully sure, but no, Mavs in 4. Clearly, like I think that's the most rational possible take I can give you. But woof, I think it's going to be a super fun series just because we've got very clearly the best player in the series. And yeah, I think it's really, I think we got a little bit less rest than I would have strictly liked. But hey, it's anybody's game, best of 7, and we take it from there.
Hey, I'm not sure if you can. I can't
can
hear you. Kurt.
Oh man,
Okay, there
I
we go.
was talking. I was muted too. I just gave a whole long soliloquy to no one. Vikrant carried us off the show, and I have now brought Zach up. Zach, what's going on, man?
I'm doing good. How you doing tonight?
Dude, we're almost 4 hours in. I am I'm sauced. But I'm having a great time.
I'm actually surprised you're still on. I was listening earlier and started playing the game a little bit, then came back and was like, "Oh, he's still streaming. I'm gonna hop in there and throw my 2 cents."
Absolute sicko.
For sure, man. It's just been a crazy ride, man. Mavs are finals bound. I don't even know how to feel about this season. It's been up and down, but we're here. I just want to say this about the Celtics, man. I don't understand. I don't think they can guard our pick and roll. Like when Luka gets in the lane and we got Lively back there or Gafford, who do they have on the back line that can really, guard that? I just don't see it.
They were not able to guard the Pacers pick and roll. Now, the Pacers played a completely different pace than the Mavericks, and the Mavericks have actually played up tempo. But like Jason Timpf, who's a Lakers guy, showed how many points per possession that the Pacers were scoring, that the Celtics were surrendering on pick and roll. And so the answer to your question is, can they guard the Mavericks pick and roll? And the answer is no. Like, they can't do it. They can't do it. It's not a matter of can't or can or can't. It's a matter of like, do they outscore the Mavericks? Do they limit them in other areas? Like, I think the Celtics are the better team on paper. I think the Mavericks might have the better game plan to win.
I agree. I think I agree with what you said a couple of pods ago. I think you said that Jason Kidd is a playoff coach, not a regular season coach.
Yeah,
and
that's right. Like, he's really ready to go.
Yeah, for sure. I think he locks in. He's got the team that he believes in, and I don't know. I think I'm gonna go Mavs in 6. I'm gonna go Mavs in 6.
I said Mavericks in 7 out of respect, but you're probably the 4th person to say Mavs in 6, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, just from how this playoffs have gone, obviously we're winless in game 4s, and so I don't even know if we can get game 1 or not. We got it with the Timberwolves, so I don't even know what to expect at this point. But I'm gonna go Mavs in 6. Yeah, and I'm gonna stick with that. But yeah, man, I just wanted to get on here and give my little take, man. Appreciate you for what you do, man. Please keep it up.
I appreciate you as well, Zach. Thanks so much for joining.
For sure. Take care.
All right, we got another late joiner. 2 late joiners. Prezi, what's going on? Hi, welcome to he didn't mean to join. So then we had another person named Toro in the chat there that I'm reading device is not connected. Now I will filibuster for about 30 seconds and allow anybody else that wants to join to try. And then otherwise I'm going to cut it and we're going to go to bed because it's close. It's 2:15 and I still actually have to edit and publish this bitch. Guys, this has been a great deal of fun. Mavs or Pod Maverick is sort of my own baby. I drag Josh along for the ride because Josh is the best analyst in the game, in my opinion, in Mavs land. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. We'll be back probably a couple times this week. I really look forward to everyone on a Friday afternoon. Hey, my man Rolo is joining.
Hey, Kirk, can you hear me?
I can hear you. What are you doing up this late, sicko?
Man, I'm just getting out of the club, bro.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And just partying it up, partying up. I was celebrating solidarity, but now I'm celebrating the Mavs win, man. So I'm really happy. I'm really happy. But yeah, I can't believe you're still streaming, bro. I just wanted to come out and shout you out, Kirk. I appreciate you, bro. Man, it's just all love right now.
That's right.
The season has just been crazy. It's been great. It's been up. It's been down. It's been round and round. But what I wanted to share, and I don't know if it's been shared yet or not. I'm gonna have to listen
Please
back
do.
to the Pod Maverick. Yeah, definitely. But I think I've been saying this all playoffs, man. We have the greater asshole. Like we, Luka is the top notch. He's the one, man. And I say that, and I say that with the utmost respect and love for him, because everybody knows that Michael Jordan was was an asshole as well. And so you have to have one to be able to win on the grandest stage. And I believe that we've got the best one right now, man. So yeah, I say Mavs in 7 as well as you did, I believe, Kirk. But I hope that they do take it in 6, bro. But I appreciate you again. We'll be chatting, man. Hey, have a great night.
You too, buddy. Be good. All right. This has been a lot of fun. Gosh, it has been a lot of fun. We're approaching 4 hours. I'm really tempted. I see Iztok is awake in Slovenia. He posted a photo of himself with the Pravi MVP photo on. I wonder if he'd join because he's awake because it's in Slovenia, which is X number of hours away from now. But he's probably not gonna. Guys, wonderful time. Great friends, great fans. If you've listened to this long on the audio stream later, because this is going to be a 3 hour and 20-minute podcast, then you are weird and I love you. Everybody be so good. Kirk Henderson, Mavs Moneyball, and Pod Maverick. Everyone have a great rest of your week. Go Mavs.